Good. Yan Beiqing did not hesitate to come down, did not think about any worries. When Lu Zheng heard the speech, he was stunned. After thinking about it, he said, Mr. Wang, I haven't finished my words just now, so there is a certain risk. If you are careless, your internal power may be damaged together. If it's serious. Before the end of the sentence, Yan Beiqing interrupted directly. His face was calm, and he didn't see any fear. He only had the worried color that could not be covered up in his eyes. Don't say it. At the moment, I just want to know how to do it. Even half of the consequences are not considered, is really not care about their own body, or seriously care too much about her. Lu Zheng couldn't help but have such a question in his heart. His heart was obscure and complicated. After a long time, he realized it. He quickly suppressed his confused thoughts and said, Okay, please sit cross-legged behind the princess first, concentrate on your luck, 6 in 1. Yan Beiqing nodded slightly, listened to Lu Zheng's words, sat cross-legged behind the flower, and began to concentrate on his luck. He put a small part of his powerful internal power into the flower and controlled it to comb the flower's internal power. If Mo Shanghua is awake at this time, she will feel the burning pain in her body, which is gradually alleviating. Just like the clear spring water, she slowly caresses every inch of Dantian meridian, and the discomfort is greatly reduced. In the end, Yan Beiqing had deep internal power and was extremely intelligent. He could understand the meaning at a little. In only half an hour, he successfully adjusted the disordered breath of Mo Shanghua, and forced the blood stasis out of her body. Yan Beiqing leans Mo Shanghua's soft and thin body on his chest, takes a sweat towel and gently wipes off her lips. Only then can he spit out the blood stained by the congestion. The anger and indifference between his eyebrows and eyes dissipate completely at this time, as if he was such a gentle and meticulous person. Even Lu Zheng on one side is surprised. The Yanbei city he had seen before was indifferent and merciless. When did he see him so gentle? Did he really? Is it very affectionate? Thinking of this, Lu Zheng began to smile bitterly from the corner of his lips and gathered his look in his eyes. Prince, I'm going to give the princess a needle. Well. Yanbei city light carefully put the flower back on the bed, the position in front of the bed, but still closely follow the eyes of the flower. Looking at the flower on the street with closed eyes, he was stabbed with silver needles by Lu Zheng. It was just like stabbing Yan Beiqing's heart. It made him feel a pain in his heart. After seeing it for a while, he moved his eyes. He was afraid that he would stop Lu Zheng and hurt her. When it was getting light, Lu Zhengkai put away the last silver needle. How? Although Yan Beiqing didn't look sideways, his ears were also paying attention to the movements. Lu Zheng just finished. He turned around and asked impatiently. The princess has nothing to do. Just take good care of her for a few days. The prince doesn't have to worry too much. Lu Zheng wiped the sweat on his forehead, and his complexion was much more relaxed. Yan Beiqing felt that the big stone in his heart had fallen to the ground, and even his breathing seemed to be much smoother. Lu Zheng looked at Yan Beiqing's black robes in the future and said, the princess will wake up in a little while. Will the prince go to change clothes first? Yan Beiqing looked down at his robes. Later, he realized that he had forgotten to change his clothes. He was so reckless. Although he has learned from Hua Qianlu that Mo Shanghua seems to have guessed his identity, there are so many people in the house that he doesn't bother to be in trouble if there is any. Thinking about this, Yan Beiqing did not refuse. Well, I will go back to change clothes and come back later. Take your time, Lord. Lu Zheng bowed himself to salute. Before he got up, he had already walked to Yanbei city by the window and said, yesterday's play has not been finished. You should go to Nanha as soon as possible. Yanbei city left the flower place on the street, then quietly went to Nanha to exchange the clothes he wore yesterday. Before he could deal with the matter here, he saw that Nanha had already knelt down in the outer room. As soon as Yan Beiqing came out, she said in a loud voice, I heard that the princess almost lost her life. It was the inferior strategy that my subordinates came up with yesterday that delayed the princess. In addition, the notice was too late, so I asked the king to surrender. Yanbei City stops, and the eagle-like sharp eyes scan the face of Nanha slowly. If he was an ordinary person, he didn't do anything wrong. He would feel guilty when he was staring at him like this. But Nanha still kept his eyes slightly closed, neither humble nor arrogant, and couldn't see half guilty. Yan Beiqing stared at her for a long time. Seeing that she didn't respond much, he closed his eyes and walked by her. You should be glad that the princess is safe. Remember, next time anyone I arrange to be with the princess, if there is something important, I will not stop him. Yes. The South Crane whispered that it should be, without any objection. However, in the drooping eyes, it was a look of clear relief. Before, she deliberately delayed Lu Zheng and tried to get rid of Qinya. She didn't do it very clearly. Now she is retreating to avoid Yan Beiqing's suspicion. Now it seems that she is right. Get up and follow me to finish the play. Yanbei City lifted the bottom and sat down beside the bed, with no expression on his face. Yes. Nan, he just stood up and straightened his bun. He thought he would make it a little bit messy. He went back to bed and lay down with his eyes closed. In addition, he made a pale appearance with powder, as if he was seriously ill. Next, it was nothing more than a play, which made the world think that Lu Zheng's skillful hand revived and saved her. After all, one day when Nanha is in the palace, there will be one more hidden pile in Yanbei City, which is convenient for many things. Qinya took the medicine from the maid and said, "Brother, help me to help the princess get up." "I'll feed her the medicine." Qin Lin nodded, wiped his hand on his body, and then came forward to help the flowers on the street. His action is very careful, 2 hands only lightly hold the shoulder of Mo Shanghua, dare not have half extra touch. After lifting her up, immediately put 2 soft pillows behind her, let her lean on the soft pillow. Qinya took a small spoonful of the medicine with a spoon, blew it on her lips, and then sent it to Mo Shanghua's lips. She fed it carefully. Just fed 2 spoonfuls, the sleepy Mo Shanghua suddenly coughed 2 times, and the soup just fed in his mouth coughed out, spoiling a bowl of soup. However, Qin Lin and Qinya didn't have time to regret it. Instead, they were both happy. Qinya almost hit the bowl in her hand. She quickly stabilized herself and put the bowl aside. Qin Lin took the handkerchief carefully and handed it to her. "Princess, you wake up at last. Are you better? Is there anything wrong?" Qinya put down the medicine bowl, then asked busily, full of concern. Mo Shanghua took Qin Lin's handkerchief and wiped the medicine juice on her lips. Then she said in a hoarse voice, "No harm." Speaking, if her eyes seem to have no in the house swept once, seems to be looking for something. "Princess, what are you looking at?" "But not very well." Qinya turns her head and sweeps around the house. "Nothing." Mo Shanghua takes back her eyes and takes her right hand to her pulse. Compared with before, her pulse has become more stable now, even the disordered breathing in her body has all calmed down, and she swims steadily in her dantian. "Who helped me with my diagnosis and treatment?" Mo Shanghua raised her eyes in surprise. She cured her internal injury in such a short time. She really couldn't think of what helped her adjust her breath. "It's Dr. Lu." Qinya didn't know that Yanbei City was in the room yesterday. She said, "Yesterday you fainted again. I was so scared that I ran to the South Lady and asked Lu to come over." "Dr. Lu?" Mo Shanghua's face was even more surprised. After a while, he whispered, "I used to look down on him." Qin Lin saw that Qinya was chatting with Mo Shanghua, so he took the medicine he had not finished feeding. He said in sign language, "I'm going to boil a bowl of medicine. Sister, you are with the princess." Qinya nodded like a pound of garlic, and was about to sit down on the sandalwood stool. At the door came a little boy's announcement, "The Lord is coming." The color of the flower eyes on the street darkened instantly, and the corners of his lips pursed into a straight line. Qinya didn't notice the abnormality of the flowers on the street, so she just saluted herself. "I heard that the princess was in an emergency. What's the situation now?" Dr. Lu, you didn't come to see it in the middle of the night yesterday. You can see the princess again and see how she is now. Before people arrived, Yan Beiqing's voice came in far away, and the worry in the language was very clear. Lu Zheng was about to come forward when he heard the flowers saying, "No need. I've had a pulse myself. It's no big problem. The Lord is keeping the Imperial Dr. Lu. It's a waste of time for me. I'd better take the Imperial Dr. Lu to see Nanji. I heard that she is critically ill." The Imperial Dr. Lu saw the midnight yesterday, and now Nanner as well, and now he has gone to sleep. Yan Beiqing waved Lu Zheng to stay still for a while. When Yan opened his mouth, his past irregularities seemed to have diminished a lot after that night. "I'm also a little tired. I want to have a rest. Please come back," he said. Qinya was puzzled. Her master just woke up. How could she be sleepy again? This morning meal is useless. Yan North City choked a choke, and then staring at the thin figure of flowers on the street to see for a while, just irritable toward Qinya and others waved, "You go first." "Yes." Seeing this, Qinya and others could only obediently comply. Even Lu Zheng voluntarily withdrew. There were only two of them in the room. Rao was so. They were also silent. No one spoke first. Mo Shanghua wanted to wait for a while, but she couldn't wait for Yan Beiqing's words. She was so angry that she simply closed her eyes and made a serious gesture to sleep. Yan Beiqing noticed Mo Shanghua's action. He wanted to raise his hand to turn her body around. His hand reached an inch of her shoulder, but he stopped again. He also thought that the flower on the street was hurt again. He was afraid that he might hurt her unintentionally. But Mo Shanghua turned his back to him. He was not comfortable when he spoke. After thinking about it, he stood up, bent down and looked at Mo Shanghua squarely. "Is there something wrong with the princess? Could it be that I went to Nanji's place yesterday without saying hello and made the princess jealous?" Speaking, the warm breath sprayed on the cheek of Mo Shanghua, which made Mo Shanghua uncomfortable and had to open her eyes. Never thought. Fang opened his eyes, then on the north city of Yen, a pair of eyes that seemed to contain the ocean as deep and deep, make her more uncomfortable. She simply turned around and pushed Yan Beiqing away. She sat up and said, "I'm afraid I think too much. I'm just too tired. I'm afraid I can't even rest if I continue like this." At this time, Yan Beiqing was not impatient with his maidservants. Instead, he sat down patiently beside his bed and said, "When you just pushed away my king, it didn't look like you were tired. Princess, if you are really upset, I will explain to you. I don't want to know what happened yesterday, but Nana was very ill yesterday. How can I not go? I thought that when he put down his posture like this, he coaxed me with a good temper, and the flowers on the street would be relieved. But I didn't want to." The more he said that, the more condensed the faces of the flowers on the street were, as if they were covered with ice. "The Lord has just said that Nanji has just escaped the gate of death. In that case, why don't you go to Nanji to guard? I think the first thing Nanji wants to see when she wakes up is you." Seeing this, Yan Beiqing gathered a smile on his lips and said, "Nanji is okay. It's Princess Yu. How to say, it's just for helping Wang. What I should see most is you." Mo Shanghua turned his face and didn't look at Yan Beiqing's cheek. He said coldly, "Thank you for your kindness. I've said it again. I'm in good health. You've seen it now. It's time to go back. If you don't go back, I have to rest." After a pause, her eyes and eyebrows became more and more condensed. "I need to rest." The words had already said this. Yan Beiqing and even the words in his throat immediately swallowed back, silent for a long time, no words, disguised clear eyes gradually dark. In fact, what he said just now was his limit. He is a proud man. All the rascal's mischief is just his disguise. It's very difficult for him to let go of his pride again and again. What's more, he didn't say anything to her yesterday, for fear of disturbing him. After he went out, he had a meeting with Qin Yaji, but she was so indifferent that he couldn't understand. Well, since she doesn't want him here now, there's no need for him to be boring here. Thinking of this, he stood up and said, in that case, the princess will have a good rest. No one can see, turning around, his eyes quietly across a helpless color. Until Yan Beiqing came out of the house, the flowers on the street didn't turn their eyes to see his back. They just listened to the footsteps in the house, and the coldness on their face faded slowly. They were a bit lost in their eyes. Previously, she deliberately tried to see Yan Beiqing's reaction after she was injured. Later, she didn't see any news coming from there all night, and even half a doctor hadn't come. She really didn't know what he thought in his heart. Before Ming Ming, he was good to her. How could he ignore her now? This morning, she was already well, but she brought Lu Zheng to have a look. How could she have no waves in her heart? However, she couldn't tell what she was driving him away for. She only knew that she was not very comfortable and stuffy. She seemed to be suffocating. Princess. Qinya didn't know when she came in. Seeing that she was in a trance, she could not help calling softly. Mo Shanghua is half of the reaction is no, self-care of the heart, eyes muddled. With such a childlike look, Qinya saw it on the flower's face for the first time. Her heart suddenly jumped. She quickly raised her hand and shook her shoulder, Princess, Princess. Mo Shanghua, this just returned to God, the look in the eyes will hide in a flash, only a piece of dark that people can't understand, what's the matter? Originally, this should be the Mo Shanghua that Qinya knew. But the thought of Mo Shanghua's just appearance and her cover-up appearance made Qinya have to think more. Why did the prince come in for such a short time? Princess, you look like this and lost your soul. Speaking of this, she crossed Yan Beiqing's way of going out just now in her mind. Then she suddenly realized and asked, are you keeping Mrs. Nan's business for the king all night? Are you angry with the king? Why should I be angry with him? Mo Shanghua turned her eyes and asked. There was no anger between her eyebrows and eyes. On the contrary, she was really confused. She is just a little unhappy in her heart. What does it have to do with those who hold their breath? Qinya, she stared at Mo Shanghua's delicate cheek for a long time to confirm that she really didn't understand. She reorganized the language in her heart and then said, since you don't understand the princess, the servant girl came to ask you, what did you say to the Lord just now? Mo Shanghua only feels that Qinya is close to each other, so she doesn't want to hide it. She tells her dialogue with Yan Beiqing just now. After hearing this, Qinya could not help looking at the flowers on the street, shaking her head and sighing. She could not help murmuring, Princess, you have always been smart. How can this aspect be like rotten wood? The flower on the street looks at her and looks like she is all ears. Seeing this, Qinya tilted her head and thought about it. Then she said, let's talk to the princess. When I was working in the village's rich man's house, I once saw that the master of that family wanted to take a concubine back, but his wife refused to allow him to see the woman. Whenever I mentioned this, I would get angry with the rich man. All the servants in the same house said that it was jealousy, and food vinegar, no matter how generous on the surface, can be found after a woman gets married. What's more, when I was a child, when I saw my neighbor's uncle saying one more word to another woman, the family would chase him with a broom. With that, she couldn't help laughing and her eyebrows and eyes were flying. You mean I'm jealous and jealous now? Mo Shanghua is not a dull person. He is a little bit transparent and immediately asks. Qinya nodded at once, like pounding garlic. You are not jealous. What can you do? If you want me to tell you this, you can be excused. Otherwise, don't worry too much about it. Excusable? It's excusable to know that she was seriously injured and comatose, but she didn't even send someone to ask for a few words. Is that excusable? At the thought of this, she was inexplicably depressed. Her eyes and eyebrows coagulated again, and her thin lips condensed and said, I'm not jealous or jealous as you said. Not jealous? What can that be? It's clear that you just said. Now, Qinya is puzzled. She stares at the flower for a long time, trying to recall what the flower said to her, and some details about them that are easy to be ignored. After thinking about this for a long time, her brain suddenly flashed. Yesterday, what Mo Shanghua said was to test suddenly appeared in her mind, and she understood it in an instant. If she was just jealous, Qinya could still persuade her. But she could not persuade her to do it in a few words. This is the knot of a stranger. She is not an outsider. Thinking about this, she could not help but sigh a long time, holding her cheeks in both hands and staring at the flowers on the street. Princess, what are you going to do now? What are you going to do? I don't know. Maybe when I feel comfortable, I will know how to plan. Qinya helplessly looked at the flowers on the street and got up and said, My brother is still frying medicine. I'll go to see how it is. You can rest by yourself first. Mo Shanghua's delicate chin dots, his complexion is still blurred and complicated, and he doesn't even lift his head, which is obviously enchanted again. The next few days, Mo Shanghua simply closed the door, while maintaining their own injuries, from time to time let people see the situation of Yunji. Yan Beiqing came here once in a while, but she didn't see her. Lu Zheng seems to have something to do these days and seldom comes to see her. However, in addition to a few of them, an unexpected guest came today. Your Second Highness Wanan. Mo Shanghua sees that Yan Moli is led in by Qinya, but she is still sitting on the soft collapse. She only nods slightly. I'm still ill and weak. I can't get up to say hello to your highness. I hope your highness will forgive me. Yan Mo's lips pointed out a slight radiant, and his face was gentle. Naturally, your body is important. You can be excused. How can we blame you? Thank you for your understanding. The flowers on the street gathered their eyes and sat down, in a state of neither humble nor overbearing. Qin Lin, give your highness a seat. Qin Lin bowed and gave a salute. After a while, he quickly brought up a chair and put it aside. Yan Moli did not shirk it, so he sat down naturally. He straightened the folds on his robe, and then raised his head again. I heard that the princess had been sick and even vomited blood since she helped me with my treatment that day. I've been resting these days. I think it's probably because of my medical treatment. I'm really sorry, so I'll come to see how you are now. Isn't he suspicious of her again? The flower heart on the street suddenly jumps out this idea, the facial expression is invariable. Your highness is worried. Mo Shanghua smiles politely, with a brilliant face. Everything in the house is mostly for my servants to chew their tongue. How can it be so exaggerated? Besides, when I was treating my highness, there was Imperial Dr. Lu to help me. How could I be seriously ill? It's just an old disease. Your highness doesn't need to blame himself. Yan Mo's eyes were slightly deep, but his mouth seemed to have no intention to say, I remember that you used to be quite healthy, and you didn't see the doctor in the Prime Minister's house. Mo Shanghua raised her hand and pressed her eyebrows. She said, when I got married in Yuzhou, I was on the road for more than a month. The road was bumpy. This old disease fell from that time. I'm afraid it's not perfect for 3 or 2 years. How could it be so serious? Yan Mo raised his eyebrows slightly and was surprised. Mo Shanghua's face was light, and he didn't see the slightest state of depression due to illness. The days in the future are still long, and there's no need to worry about 3 or 2 years. After a pause, a touch of ink passed through her quiet eyes, and she looked straight at Yan Moli. Your highness said, isn't it? Yan Moli's deep eyes inevitably turned to the eyes of the flowers on the street, and the ink color in the eyes gradually deepened. What princess you said is very natural. The 2 men's eyes are all dark, but their faces are just calm. It seems that they haven't played a single role. In fact, they have fought each other for thousands of times. The difference in one move is the same as sending their weaknesses to each other. Unfortunately, it seems that the outcome of this battle is still uncertain. However, the 2 people's confrontation, the air has been uncontrolled stagnation down, there seems to be invisible smoke in the gradually diffuse. Your highness said that after talking with the princess for such a long time, you must be thirsty. Why don't you drink some tea? The tea is specially bought by the Lord. It's the most popular tea in the imperial city. May I have a taste? Yen Moli took the Celadon tea cup, and while he lowered his head and stroked the tea foam, he said casually, I didn't expect that the news from Yuzhou spread so fast that he could even know what tea was popular in the capital. What seems to be unintentional is actually meaningful. After all, if Yen Beicheng, who has always been a waste of firewood, can inquire about all the fashionable things in Huangqing so clearly and quickly, it can be seen whether he is really stupid or not. At the moment when his voice fell, Qinya's face was white. She turned her eyes to look at the flowers on the street for help. The flowers in the street also picked up the teacup and tapped the Celadon pattern on the teacup with their fingertips. Qinya is wrong. The journey from Yuzhou to the imperial city will be more than a month. It will take nearly 2 months to pass on such fashionable tea and other things. I'm afraid it's not fashionable in the imperial city. Therefore, it can only be regarded as fashionable in the imperial city a few months ago. I don't know if your highness is still used to drinking? Qinya nervously grabbed the corner of her clothes and then released it. She gathered her eyes and said, It's my maid who didn't think at all. I forgot this layer. Your highness is laughing. He who does not know is not guilty. See beyond mo flower easily dissolve, yen mo li mao inside the facial expression tiny turn, hang head tiny pursed a cup of tea. When the tea just came in, he frowned and took the cup away from him. I've lived near Yuzhou for so long. I'm not used to drinking this tea, but it's the most popular Chinese tea in Yuzhou. Qinya was also a smart man. He immediately understood Yen Moli's implication, took the teacup and said, Since your highness likes the tea, I'll change it. The flowers on the street saw this, and the light of eyes fell on Qin Lin, who was still standing on the side, and gave him a silent wink. Qin Lin knew it, and then he retreated quietly. Originally, there were only Qin Lin and Qinya in the house, but now they have retired, leaving only Mo Shanghua and Yen Moli in the house. Mo Shanghua drank the tea in the cup. When her thirst was relieved, she said, Now you and I are the only ones left. What does your highness want to say? The princess's mind seems to be much more intelligent than before, as if she had changed her personality. Yen mo li mao light if there seems to be no in the Mo Shanghua's cheek on a circle, the final frame in her eyes. Mo Shanghua didn't look at him, but he didn't dodge too much. He was very generous and decent. If your highness had experienced the same thing, I'm afraid it would not be the same. Otherwise, your highness would not be sitting here and talking to me like this now. Yen Mo Li's eyes unconsciously fixed on Mo Hua's delicate and beautiful cheek. He only felt that when she said this, her expression was flat and her eyes didn't change much, as if she had been relieved and didn't care about the past. It's as if we can be so calm when we talk about such a tragic past. It's like we've gone through all the vicissitudes and seen through the world. Otherwise, we'll press down all our emotions deeply. It's harmless on the surface, but in fact, we'll press a demon in the heart. When the right time comes, we'll wait for the opportunity and take people's lives. Today's Mo Shanghua, in his view, is more like the latter. I'm afraid it's hard to control. But the more difficult it was to control, the more he wanted to see her. Thinking of this, Yen Moli pressed down the surging ink color at the bottom of his eyes, raised a gentle smile at the corner of his lips, and said, I heard that the emperor's younger brother always dotes on the beautiful concubine in the palace. Yesterday, because the beautiful concubine was ill, he called all the doctors and stayed in bed all night. As a result, the princess was very ill, but no one could cure her. Mo Shanghua eyes don't move, light reply Wei, this matter afraid is already in the mansion everybody knows, but didn't think, your highness originally also is alike to listen to the person to chew the tongue base. Being so insinuated, Yen Mo didn't see any anger on his face. Princess, do you remember what I told you before? Before? Mo Flower Lien Mao carefully recalled a moment, and then just slightly nodded, I remember. What he said should be the words that he discussed with her when he came to the palace that day. However, there was a heart of provocation in his words, and it was obvious that he wanted her to be used by him. Yen Mo's eyes looked at the flowers on the street, thin lips and light words, as if the words were just ordinary things. Now the emperor's younger brother dotes on Nanji, and most people in the palace are partial to Nanji. If my words come true that day, I'm afraid Nanji is the only choice for the princess after that. Are you credible? Mo Shanghua seemed to listen carefully for a long time, but she didn't touch her face. She only said lightly, Nanji was born into a prostitute. Qinya has already told her about Nanha's identity and background. On the surface, he is just a prostitute. If he really wants to be a princess, he can't pass the imperial examination. The princess must have forgotten that my younger brother has already taken off her prostitution status. She is now an innocent woman. Yen Emoli disapproved of the smile. In this way, as long as the emperor's younger brother wants to, I'm afraid even the father can't talk more. Mo Shanghua has no words. She stares at Yen Moli quietly, as if she has nothing to say. Seeing this, Yen Emoli was not in a hurry to be happy. He went on to say to himself, what kind of life will you live in Yuzhou without the throne of princess? I don't think you need to talk about it in this hall. In a word, it's not easy to make up your mind. But if you want to be in your position, it's not hard to get there. On the street, the cherry-colored lips are slightly pursed, the slender eyelashes are slightly drooping, and a serious look. After a long time, she suddenly raised her eyes and said with no smile, when your highness arrived in Yuzhou, even his life was saved by me. If you only rely on one mouth, don't mention me, you are a 3-year-old. I'm afraid you won't believe it easily. What if we let the princess see the strength of our palace? Yen Moli's complexion remained unchanged, and he was still calm and relaxed, and his eyes were full of confidence. That minister concubine is from should regard benefit as respect. Mo Shanghua sat up straight, but her words were sincere, especially the concubine, which she had never used in front of Yen Beicheng. On the one hand, she was not used to it, and on the other hand, she was proud of herself. Yen Moli naturally noticed that Mo Shanghua never claimed to be like this. Now she was willing to be like this. He stood up and said, thanks for the princess's trust. Even so, although the princess can rest assured, we will never let her down. Mo Shanghua noticed that Yen Moli, who was confident but introverted in front of her eyes, was slightly reminded by the symbolic corner of her lips, wait and see. Yen Moli sees this and smiles at her. Then he turns around and leaves. It seems that he has gone back to prepare. Qinya takes the position at the gate of the tea marquee, and when Yen Moli comes out, she dares to go in. As soon as she saw Mo Shanghua, she quickly took Mo Shanghua's arm and looked at her all over carefully. Princess, you just talked with him. You are afraid of death. After staying for a while, I am even more nervous. Please let me have a good look and see if you are hurt. Mo Shanghua let Qinya look at it again, then slowly opened her lips, don't worry, I haven't lost yet. Especially in the fight with Yen Moli, she will not lose, nor can she lose. Once she loses, there is no hope of turning over. Qinya stares at Mo Shanghua's calm and indifferent cheek and can't help touching her arm. She feels that her hair seems to stand up. The look of the princess made her shudder, but there was more admiration and admiration. In her eyes, the princess of her family is really handsome. No matter what time she is always calm and calm. But under such calm and calm, there is a sharp blade hidden. If you don't do it, you must see blood. After making a deal with Yen Moli, in the evening, all the people in the palace spread the story. Everyone said that Nanha was carried to the side of the imperial concubine, and the imperial concubine would be out of favor. Maybe soon, even the imperial concubine's position would be given to Nanha. Yen Moli stood by the window, looking at the drizzle outside the window and listening to the comments of the royal palace reported by the bodyguard. His face was still, but his eyes were gradually faded, and his mood seemed to be much better. Well done. After a long time, he was not in a hurry to praise. Although he was praised, the bodyguard did not dare to be complacent. After thinking about it, he said, Your Highness, I don't understand. Since you want to let her know your strength, why don't you just give her a sweet date, but give her a slap? Yen Emoli lips cape tiny hook, don't smile of openings, do you think, she is easy to give a sweet jujube will believe me? Moreover, she must have guessed the previous events, so how could she not bear hatred? The bodyguard's face was even more confused. I don't know why I can see that because my subordinates are stupid. Yen Emoli Mao Guang gradually far-reaching up, the corner of the lip smile turned to sneer, from her deliberate diagnosis and treatment to the temple, malicious urge drug, let the temple suffered a lot of pain, it is enough to see. If he didn't bear a grudge, how could he deliberately give him suffering again and again? Although he was in a daze that day, he could still hear a word from time to time. Of course, he didn't know that Mo Shanghua had added a medicine to the poison in his body. Otherwise, it would not be the case today. How could that be? The bodyguard heard the words and was shocked. But since that's the case, why do you want to do everything today? My subordinates are getting more and more confused. Of course, I want her to think that I still don't know anything. Yen Mo's lips were slightly crooked, and the bottom of his eyes was dark. In this hall, she was still too young. Moreover, even if we don't know this, we can't believe her. No matter whether it's flowers or others, for him, the most trustworthy is always himself. He wants to take advantage of the flowers on the street, but if he takes advantage of them with full precautions, otherwise, who knows when she will stab him in turn. The bodyguard's face was a little puzzling. He frowned and thought for a long time. Then he suddenly realized, the Lord is wise. Yen Moli was not complacent because of the compliment of the bodyguard, but still had the enigmatic look on his face. How did the tale deal with those people who were sent out before? Don't worry, Mr. Wang. No matter our people or the mobs, there are no survivors. Those who were caught also took poison and killed themselves on the spot. Well. Yen Emoli light again Wei, the fold of Imperial City handed over? Report back to the Lord. It has been sent as soon as possible. The guard hesitated and asked again, Your Highness, what's wrong with the poison in your body? Yen Emoli shook his head gently, Dr. Zhang is not here, and I don't know about this hall. However, he hasn't stopped practicing martial arts in this hall recently, so she must have detoxified it. His move is so dangerous, so unexpected, so he still has a high degree of certainty, Mo Shanghua will detoxify her. Yes, after returning to the Imperial City, my subordinates immediately went to ask for Dr. Zhang. The closer to the night, the more heavy the rain is. It's very hot in the house. If you don't get close to the window, you almost can't breathe. Mo Shanghua has always been insensitive to weather changes. Therefore, the house is sultry. She also sits at the table and has a graceful and decent meal. Qinya couldn't hold it for a long time, so she simply moved a low stool and sat down under the corridor, reaching for the rain on the cornice while listening to the sound of the rain on the ground. Since she regained her hearing, she has been extremely interested in all the sounds in her life. She only feels that everything in the world is extremely pleasant. When the house was quiet and peaceful, Qin Lin suddenly came back in the rain. Most of his clothes were soaked in the rain. As soon as Qinya saw that he was like this, she hurriedly took the handkerchief and said, Brother, you. Before he finished his sentence, he pushed Qinya Cheo aside and said in sign language, It's not in the way. After that, he went directly into the house and put aside the herbs he wanted to buy. Then he leaned over to say hello, gesticulating in sign language. Princess, when the slave came back, he heard that Mrs. Nan had been granted the title of side concubine by the Lord, and she also released the foot ban. She said that before the matter was settled, Mrs. Nan was innocent and there was no need to ban feet. That's true, but everyone else in the house said that it was because she was sick and bored that the Lord had specially lifted her foot ban so that she could go out to relax. It was quite difficult for him to draw such a complicated passage. After drawing it again, he could not help but draw it again for fear that the stranger would not understand it. At the same time, he faintly uttered some syllables that looked like words but not words. Mo Shanghua looks at Qin Lin's sign language expression. Her eyes, which are as quiet as an empty valley, suddenly change. It seems that there is something in her eyes, and oh, it seems that the calm ground is suddenly windy, and the leaves are rolling up. Did the prince take Nanji as his concubine? Flower Lungjing moment, subconsciously murmured repeated. Qin Lin hesitated and nodded, looking worried at the flowers on the street. Qin Ya's eyes were full of disbelief. How can it be? She's not qualified at all. Finish saying, just realize oneself is really too excited, busy cover mouth, the same worry of sea flowers. I saw the delicate and beautiful face of Mo Shanghua, and her look in her eyes was beyond Qin Linya's comprehension. However, she was only absent for a moment. After a moment, she returned to normal again, but her whole body momentum was more cool and unpredictable than just now. He did give me a big present. For a long time, the flowers on the street opened their lips and opened their mouth without expression. Yen Moli, who can give her unexpected joy, from time to time, is really a disgusting opponent. In fact, she couldn't tell what she was thinking at the moment. She just felt that her chest was more and more stuffy, like being held by a hand, and the hand was still shrinking. She could hardly breathe. That day, Nanhe tore off his mask and said something provocatively, as well as Yen Beiqing turned a blind eye to her serious injury a few days ago. These pictures flashed through her mind in a flash, shrinking her heart more and more tightly. With a light grip on the palm of his hand, Mo Shanghua gathered his thoughts, put down his chopsticks, got up and went around to the bookcase, picked up the pen and wrote a line of words, then folded the paper and said, Qin Lin, when it's dark, you will quietly send this paper to your Second Highness. Qin Lin took the letter, but did not immediately return to his position. He could not help worrying and asked in sign language, Princess, are you really okay? Mo Shanghua shook his head, his eyes were quiet, and he couldn't see the color of sadness. These dishes have been taken away. I've eaten them well. As soon as the voice fell, Yen Beiqing's voice came in from the outer room. Before the voice came, he said, don't withdraw. I haven't eaten yet. How can the princess withdraw? Qin Lin, Qin Ya's action suddenly stopped, looking at the flowers on the street, as if waiting for her to show. Well, I'll leave it to the king. The flower eyes on the street are a little chilly, and the steps only pause a little, then turn directly into the bedroom hall. Ah, Princess, Yen Beiqing just entered the house, but he saw a piece of flowers on the street, so he rushed forward and chased after her. Qin Ya is still spending money on the stranger. She wants to catch up and stop her. Before she steps out, she is stopped by Qin Lin. She uses sign language to say, let's not get involved in the affairs of princes and concubines. Seeing this, Qin Ya stamped her feet in shame, but she turned around and went out. Mo Shanghua enters the house. Before he sits down, he hears the sound of Yen Beiqing's hasty steps behind him. I don't know why, but I feel happy and angry, and I want to turn him away, and I want to hear what he wants to say. After thinking about it for a while, Yen Beiqing walked behind Mo Shanghua and said, how can the princess walk so fast? Is it because she is not happy after listening to some gossip? No, I'm just tired. Mingming is said by Yen Beiqing, but Mo Shanghua still can't help being hard-mouthed. Yen Beiqing turned the body of Mo Shanghua, looked at her delicate cheek carefully for a while, and then said, I'm not angry. Look, your face is going to be blue. Mo Shanghua whisks Yen Beiqing's hand away, turns around and sits down with no expression on his face, the lord is worried too much. Yen Beiqing was not angry either. He sat down beside him with a good temper and habitually took an empty teacup to play with. Let me guess. The princess seems to be not happy these days. She has been avoiding the king. If it wasn't for the king's coming quietly today, I'm afraid that she would be rejected by the princess directly. Besides other reasons, there must be more anger. I've heard that the king has made Nanner an imperial concubine. After a pause, he still came over with a smile, Princess, what I said is right. The flower eyebrows on the street moved, but still stiff, never spoke. She was not happy to be guessed so easily, but she could not refute or deny it if her throat was blocked by something. However, the next second, the smile on Yan Beicheng's face subsided, his eyebrows darkened, as if he had changed a person, but these are not what the princess wants to see. I'm satisfied with the princess. How can the princess be unhappy? The flower eyebrow heart on the MO is tiny cu, again don't understand again is to take a few minutes faintly is the color of annoyance. What do you mean? Yanbei City played with the teacup, and it seemed that there was a storm gathering in his eyes. He had become the underground ruler who was decisive and controlled Yuzhou. The princess didn't have a private talk with her brother just this morning. The position of Nanner was also promoted by her brother. In addition to the meaning of the princess, I have a chance to quickly seal Nanner as a side princess. If not, I don't know how long it will take. Yan Beicheng's eagle-like eyes coldly looked straight at the flowers on the street, and his thin lips opened and closed, but all he uttered were words of a cone heart. With the fall of Yan Beicheng's voice, Mo Shanghua's heart seems to be stabbed by something. The pain is severe, and the temperature of a pair of quiet well-like eyes gradually decreases. The Lord is so, do you want to thank me? Thank you. Naturally, thank you very much. Yen North City Mao inside the Mo color more and more gloomy get up, the imperial concubine wants this king how to thank. Is it better to celebrate every day, or do you want to invite your brother to come and have a good talk with you? What do you mean, Yan Beicheng? Mo Shanghua's anger, burning and pain, made her reason collapse temporarily. As soon as the words were over, Yan Beicheng suddenly got up and pushed her to the bed by holding the waist of the flower on the street. The distance between them was so fast that they even breathed together. However, the atmosphere was not ambiguous, on the contrary, it was the tension of some swords. Yan Beicheng held the waist of Mo Shanghua tightly and said, "Don't the princess like to get along with her second brother very much? Do you want to meet your wish? By the way, and Lu Zheng, do you want to bring them to you? As soon as I think of Mo Shanghua's avoiding him these days, even if I see him occasionally, I don't pay attention to him. It's also cold words. But I've been alone with Yan Moli for such a long time, and I often say soft words to Lu Zheng. His heart is burning with bitterness and resentment." But Yan Beicheng didn't know that his words were just like pointing to their noses and calling them sluts for any woman. In particular, such words came from his husband's mouth. This word swam quickly in the heart of Mo Shanghua. Her delicate and cool cheek was covered with frost, and her voice was also cold. "Well, if the Lord likes it, you can bring all the men in the palace, and I can accept them one by one." Although she was sometimes a little dull and didn't want to talk to others, she was covered with sharp thorns. Whoever provoked her, he decided not to swallow his anger. Even if he hurt himself 800, he would hurt the enemy 1000. When Yan Beicheng heard the speech, his whole face was completely gloomy. It was as gloomy as the dark clouds when the wind and rain were about to come, and the fierce air in his eyes leaped forward. Flowers on the street. Yan Beicheng couldn't help but roar. He grabbed the slender and fragile neck of Mo Shanghua and said, "What do you want me to do?" Because he was too emotional, he even abandoned his usual disguise. Now, he has no place to vent his anger. But even so, he did not forget to restrain the action in his hands, did not dare to really force, just afraid to hurt the flowers on the street. If he was an ordinary woman, he would have been pale and flustered. But the stranger didn't even move his brow. He said coldly, "This is what you are, cloak man." The last two words, she is almost word by word, eyes in addition to full of frost, vaguely mixed with a bit stubborn. Yan North City can't help but a Zheng, the Mao color is clear to extinguish, don't know exactly what is thinking. After all, it's one thing for Hua Qianlu to talk to him, and another thing for him to hear. After a long time, he lowered his head again and spat out a few words from his thin lip. "Now that you know, are you not afraid at all?" Say, holding the hand of the flower neck on the road slightly tightens a moment. "You can't kill me." Mo Shanghua's face was still the same. At the same time, he took out the dagger he was carrying with him, and one of them was on Yan Beicheng's neck. The dagger was across his neck, bringing a cold touch. However, Yan Beicheng's face changed little by little, and his eyes disappeared again. He couldn't understand what he was thinking. But the flower on the street seems to be cold and merciless at this time, but the bottom of her eyes is the same, complex and difficult to distinguish, unable to see what she is thinking. For a long time, Yan Beicheng's face suddenly relaxed, and his hand holding the neck of the flower on the street also relaxed. It seemed that he was helpless, and he began to speak in a low voice like self-mockery. After all, it's the king who has been amorous. This time, the stranger was stunned. His brain was like an empty echo. He kept playing this passage in a circle. His heart, which had been thought to have erected a barrier, seemed to be broken, and there were bursts of pain. Before he had time to respond, he saw that Yan Beicheng had already reached out to brush the dagger that was lying across his neck. Because he didn't pay much attention to it, the sharp blade made a light scratch on his neck. Mo Shanghua catches a glimpse of the scratch on his neck. He jumps for a moment in his heart. Subconsciously, he sits up and wants to have a look. But his consciousness finally catches up and stops her action. He grasps the bed sheet under him between his fingers. Yan Beicheng seemed to have no sense of the blood stains on his neck. He didn't even frown. He just raised his hand to lightly erase the blood stains and said, "The princess must have not been raised well. Later, I will let Dr. Lu come back to have a look. You can take good care of her these days. I have nothing to do and won't disturb your peace." Then he turned and strode away. Mo Shanghua stares at his back in a dazed way. It's clear that she's so tall and straight. Somehow, Mo Shanghua sees that she's a little lost, or maybe she's lost herself. The house was completely quiet. Mo Shanghua sat on the bed for a long time. She could only hear the patter of rain outside the window, but she felt that her ears were buzzing and her heart was in a mess. No matter what, she could not calm down. Later, this night she was tossing and turning, until dawn, cannot rest. When Qinya came to wait on Mo Shanghua to do her makeup, she was shocked to see that her eyes were black. "Princess, why are you so heavy now? Was the thunderstorm last night so noisy that you didn't sleep well?" After Qinya said so, Mo Shanghua just looked up at himself in the bronze mirror. She is proficient in medical theory, so her body has always been well conditioned. Her face is ruddy and clear all the year round. Except when she was ill. When did she become so haggard? She looks 10 times worse than when she is working on medicinal materials. Seeing that she didn't speak, and seemed to have gone away, Qinya could not help but called softly, "Princess?" The flowers on the street suddenly came back and said in a soft voice, "Yesterday's rain was a little big." Qinya nodded approvingly. She combed the long silky black hair of the flowers on the street and said, "It's not true. The maidservant just went to bed after a long time yesterday." In the past, the maidservant never went to bed because of this. Although she was talking about her troubles, her heart was still more happy. The corners of her lips could not help raising. But after laughing for a moment, she was distressed again. "It's a pity that my brother has not recovered. I'll feel his pulse later." "You don't have to worry too much," he said softly. Qinya reluctantly smiles, lowers her head and doesn't speak anymore. She skillfully twists the long soft hair of Mo Shanghua into a bun and decorates it with a few zhu chai. Then she combs it in a simple but decent bun. Mo Shanghua raised her hand and cut a few strands of broken hair in front of her forehead. As she was about to get up, she heard the door knocked, and then there was no sound. "It's not Qin Lin who can knock like this. Come in." Mo Shanghua knew that Qin Lin was inconvenient to speak, so she opened her mouth thoughtfully and asked him to come in and reply. After a while, Qin Lin pushed the door and came in. After the ceremony, he reported in sign language that Lu Zheng was coming. He said that he wanted to ask for a safe pulse. The king ordered him to send it. Mo Shanghua wanted to refuse, but she thought of the helpless appearance of Yan Beicheng when she left yesterday. When she came to her mouth, she swallowed it and said, "Please come in." Qin Lin nodded and bowed back. After a while, Lu Zheng came in with a medicine box on his back. "Princess." Lu Zheng leaned over slightly and made a salute with his hands. "No need to be polite. Mo Shanghua turns around and raises her hand to show her exemption. Lu Zhen gets up, opens the medicine box and takes out the wrist pillow and silk handkerchief one by one. Although Mo Shanghua already knows about her physical condition, she still cooperates with her and puts her wrist on it, letting Lu Zhen feel her pulse. A moment later, Lu Zhen just closed his wrist pillow and said, "The princess's pulse is much more stable. She should have been better, but her heart is depressed. If it goes on like this, I'm afraid it's not right." "I know, but it's always rainy these days, the weather is sultry, even if I'm in a good mood." But Lu Zhen saw through what she thought in her heart and said, "According to the view of Wei Chen in recent days, the princess's self-injury is better in those days. Especially in these days, her mood seems to be getting worse and worse." Mo Shanghua raised her eyes and tried to suppress her depression. Dr. Lu is not only skillful in medicine, but also very good in appearance and appearance. "The princess is joking, I'm sorry." Lu Zhen thought about it. Seeing that Qinya was the only one in the house, he changed his name and wanted to enlighten him as a friend. "Although you look as usual, are there few rumors these days?" "How can I not know?" After a pause, he said, "Besides, sometimes your eyes don't lie." "Of course, sometimes, after all, it's hard to understand in the past, but in a few days, the mood will always leak out occasionally. Qinya is a little girl in the end. She can't see that she is normal. But Lu Zhen is young, but because of her identity as a doctor, she has read countless people. Naturally, she can see it clearly." He had never seen such a flower in the street. How could he not worry? The flowers in the street can't help but turn their eyes to see themselves in the bronze mirror. Although the people in the mirror are beautiful, their faces are haggard. Although the eyes are as calm as usual, there are some dark colors under the calm, which makes the whole person lose a lot of color. Looking at her haggard appearance, Lu Zhen could not help sighing. "What you look like now is always unfavorable to your condition. I don't need to tell you this. You must know it very well. If you have any unhappiness, there's no one else here. It's better to say it. Only in this way can you relieve it." The flowers on the street are silent for a moment, and the lips can't help pursing slightly, as if hesitating whether to say it or not. However, after a while, she still shook her head. "If I want to, I will not be depressed." Lu Zhen saw this, thought about it, and lowered his voice more gently. "If you don't want to say it, you might as well go out and walk more. Now it's sunny, and crepe myrtle has gradually opened." After a pause, he said, "I know that the order of banning feet is just a vain one for you." Mo Shanghua then realized what was common. She looked out through the half-open screen window and saw that the sunshine was just right outside. She couldn't help but move in her heart, but she didn't decide immediately. Seeing this, Lu Zhen puts his eyes on Qinya. Qinya Dun came over, and he was very busy. He took Mo Shanghua's arm and said, "Princess, why don't you just go out and have a look? You can't feel suffocated sitting all day, but I'm going to suffocate." Mo Shanghua also has some thoughts. Now he is suffering from the headache of being shaken by Qinya. After thinking about it, he simply nods his head. Lu Zhen sees this. "In the heart has been high-hanging big stone, this just fell down, the worry in the eye disperses a few minutes, so good." In this way, not only he but also that one should be relieved. Qinya is also immediately happy to smile by pull the arm of the flower, then happily began to plan, where to go in the end to relax. The more he said, the more excited he was. He was supposed to go in the afternoon, but Qinya said that no one came to them now, encouraging Mo Shanghua to go early after dinner. They specially changed men's clothes for convenience and chose the most prosperous street in Yuzhou. Yuzhou streets are much narrower than the imperial city, and there are not many hawkers and pedestrians. It is not as prosperous as half of the imperial city, but it has a unique style. Once upon a time, Mo Shanghua had never seen it well. Now with Qinya at her side, she would take her here and there for a while. Then she noticed that the style of Yuzhou was very different from that of the imperial city. Many of the things here are unique to Yuzhou, even the imperial city, which is a place where people from several countries trade frequently, and these things are also rare. Encouraged by Qinya, Mo Shanghua bought a lot of rare things and some jewelry hairpins, but he didn't let Mo Shanghua use them at home. He was happy to carry all his bags. They went to the best restaurant in Yuzhou for dinner, and then they strolled in the afternoon. After such a pleasant day, it gradually darkened. Qinya looked at the peddlers who had begun to clean up the stalls around, and fewer pedestrians. She said helplessly, "Princess, it's time for us to go back. It's not easy to come out this time. How can she have enough fun? She just wants to stay outside for a while." When she heard the words from the flowers on the street, her eyes were full of nostalgia. She was in a better mood because she was not easy. When she thought of the people in the palace and the bad things, she felt a little tired. At this time, she has been working hard. She even has no time to rest. How can she think of going back to face it so soon? She really feels a little tired. This word, she has not felt too fast for many years, now it is not easy to give her a chance, let her indulge for a while. Thinking about this, she turned her eyes around the street, and saw that all the people on the street had dispersed one after another with the coming of dusk. After all, there was no royal city, but there was no night market. However, if she really wants to find a place to sing every night, she really knows something about it. Qinya, it's not long since your ears have recovered. Compared with the music you haven't heard before, has it? Mo Shanghua turns his head to look at Qinya and opens his mouth seriously. Qinya nodded very honestly, the slave girl is not from a good family background. She was dependent on her brother since childhood. Later, she worked in a rich family. Because of her ears, she never heard of it. Said, her eyes cannot help but show a bit of regret and yearning color. Seeing this, the flower on the street simply took a step forward. As she walked towards the road ahead, she said, "I'll take you to see." Qinya looked at Mo Shanghua's free and easy figure. She couldn't help but be stunned. It seemed that she couldn't react. After a long time, she caught up with her and said, "Princess, is that true?" At the moment, when she listened to the music of the orchestra, she immediately put the matter of going back to the government behind her, completely ignoring it. However, when Mo Shanghua takes Qinya to Chenghuan Pavilion, both of them are stunned and seem to be surprised by the scene in front of them. I saw that Chenghuan Pavilion, which used to be brightly lit all night and sing songs all night, was destroyed for some reason. Even the bronzing characters of Chenghuan Pavilion on the plaque were blackened by thick smoke, and there was no glorious image in the past. The gate of Chenghuan Pavilion is also closed, and a small wooden sign is hung at the gate, which simply reads, "Pause and rest." "Princess, isn't this the place of fireworks?" After a long time, Qinya slowly recovered and said, "It's still a dilapidated brothel." Mo Shanghua didn't answer Qinya's words, only she curving willow-like eyebrows, and her eyes were a little surprised. Then she quickly stepped forward, raised her hand and tapped on the closed gilded and carved wooden door. No response. Mo Shanghua thought, or raised his hand to tap again. This time, after waiting for a long time, I heard the sound of footsteps in the house. It was not long before the door was opened from inside. "Who's knocking on the door again?" "I don't know. I'll be here for a while in the near future." The young steward subconsciously said what she had done before, but before she finished a word, the face of the flower on the street was visible, and her unfinished words were cut off like a knife. "Mogu young master, why are you here?" "I wanted to have a drink, but I just got here and saw this scene." Mo Shanghua politely nodded to the woman, and then said, "How did you become this appearance here? It's not convenient for me to talk to the girl in detail here. I also invite the girl to come in and talk." The woman is very polite to Mo Shanghua and opens the door to make way. Mo Shanghua sees this and doesn't refuse. She turns her eyes and looks at Qinya. She just walks in. Seeing this, Qinya quickly follows in. The woman closed the door again, dropped the lock, and then led the flowers to the elegant room on the third floor. She ordered people to bring tea and snacks. Just now she said, "I'll invite you to come here. Please wait here." Wait a minute. Seeing that the woman was considerate everywhere, and obviously avoided others, she was different from her alone. She could not help asking, "Are these all ordered by your son?" If not, she can't imagine why a director of Chunghwan Pavilion, who is so powerful, takes care of herself so politely. That woman's slightly smile, the whole body bearing more elegant chic up. "Yes, the child once ordered, if you come in the future, no matter when, must be to serve as guest of honor, and immediately invite him to come." "Thank you very much." The flowers on the street nodded their thanks, but they were surprised. When did her friendship with Hua Qianlu come to such a stage? When the woman saw that she had no problem, she bowed her head gracefully and stepped back. After a few steps, she got up and left again. Seeing that there was no one else in the house, Qinya couldn't help looking around curiously and said to herself, "I didn't expect that the outside of the building had been burned like that." The inside of the house was totally different. Sure enough, the thin camel was bigger than the horse. After a pause, she fixed her eyes on Mo Shanghua again and said, "Listen to what the elder sister just said, is that the princess has some old friendship with their child, so we get this treatment?" Mo Shanghua nodded, thought about it, and said, "The child she said is the child you saw before in Wujuan. It's the playboy." After Mo Shanghua mentioned this, Qinya just vaguely thought of it, and could not help praising it. "Young Master Hua is really nice. He used to help you like that. Now when he is not here, he will let others take care of you. It's not like the little guy around the Lord. He is used to bullying you." A word just fell, then listen to the man's deep laughter outside the door, and then see flowers and willows shaking, splash ink painting, folding fan, languid pace came in. "The girl really has a good eye, but I don't like it very much." With a habitual smile on his lips, he felt friendly and close to others. Although all the girls here are beautiful and versatile, none of them is better than those in Beicheng. When Qinya heard the reply from such a romantic person, her white cheeks suddenly turned red and she simply bit her lips and did not dare to speak. On the contrary, she just took the teapot on the table and poured a cup of tea. Seeing him coming in, she conveniently placed the teapot on the empty seat opposite her. "Your mind is really good. The huge Chunghwan Pavilion has been burned like this, and you can still laugh. Have fun in time." The willows of flowers are smiling and singing. They pick up the teacup pushed by the flowers on the street and smell it on their lips. They can't help but praise, "The tea made by the flowers on the street is really sweet. Say, very enjoy of squint and ice shallow drink." Mo Shanghua is used to the appearance of Hua Qianlu, but he doesn't say much. He just lowers his head and pours a cup of tea for himself. He takes a sip of it and says, "I remember that Yu Chunghwan Pavilion was busy a few days ago. What did you experience these days? How did you become this appearance?" Yan Beicheng shrugged his shoulders and looked like he didn't care much. "What else can there be? It's just that the people I usually offend come to me and hurt me. But the loss is not small." This is a perfunctory remark, but if you listen carefully, there is some truth. Otherwise, you can't be set on fire without any reason. Seeing him, he didn't want to say it. After thinking about it, Mo Shanghua didn't ask any questions. He said, "Then you should find out this person well and ask him for all the money you lost these days. Otherwise, how can you get back the money? It's natural." At this point, Flower Willow lips smile slightly convergence, eyes slightly narrowed, eyes inside the hair, is a stranger flower never seen dangerous color. Seeing the flowers on the street, I can't help sighing. The flower willow is always harmless to human beings and animals, but it is the well-known lord of Chunghwan Pavilion. How can he be as good as his heart? However, you haven't been here for a while. You're not the only one who doesn't come, but also the North City. I'm really lonely and cold. See, the flowers on the street do not speak, flower willows do not feel that he, the opening of a smile. The flower on the street seems to think of something. There is a dark color in her eyes. There are many things in the house recently, and I can't move the time. Flower Thousand Willow is a meaningful smile, meaning unknown mouth. I've forgotten, you this palace recently but came to a big Buddha, can't serve is also a matter of reason. After a pause, he quickly closed the folding fan and habitually touched his forehead with the fan. Oh, I forgot. Brother Beicheng didn't always come to drink with me like you, to drink with you? Mo Shanghua asked subconsciously, and her eyes didn't understand. As far as she knows, it seems that there is no news in the house that Yan Beicheng has come to drink flower wine again. Is it possible that he came quietly? Hua Qianlu nodded, not knowing whether it was intentional or unintentional. You don't know, the North City drank a lot yesterday. I almost let him drink out of the wine cellar. I still had a rest here that night. The radiance of the flower's lips on the street was gradually smoothed out. After a long silence, he said, why did he drink so much wine with you? I don't know exactly. Hua Qianlu put the folding fan in his palm and tapped it rhythmically, but I don't know what I should do with you or what I'm wrong with. I don't understand it very well. The full and ruddy lips of the flowers on the street are slightly pursed, the palm is slightly tightened, and the fingers touch the palm lightly. For a long time, she took a little breath and looked up at the flowers. If I want to say something, I might as well say it directly. After a pause, she looked at Qinya behind her. Qinya, you go out first. Seeing this, Hua Qianlu chuckles and gently points her side with a fan. The woman who has just been entertaining flowers in a stranger says, go and take Miss Qinya to the next room. As for the following words, needless to say, if the woman takes Qinya, she will surely treat her with tea and snacks. In short, she won't be ungrateful. Yes. The woman took the life, did not dislike the identity of Qinya's maid, still treated as before, led Qinya down. When the house was quiet, Hua Qianlu was not in a hurry to say it. Instead, he poured a cup of tea and drank it. Fang leisurely said, I have never done anything like a peacemaker, but today, I have to do it last time. Seems to see the Mo Shanghua is also so stuffy temperament. Without waiting for her to open her mouth, Hua Qianlu said to herself, you spent a few days ago in order to cure the imperial city, and hurt your body. You only know that you are sad, and you know what the North City is doing that day. The flower eyebrows on the street frowned slightly, and an idea came out of his heart. That day, of course, it couldn't be so simple. The one in the imperial city played a big game of chess and put me and Brother Beicheng together. That day, Brother Beicheng seemed to be at the South Crane, but in fact he was going to solve the trouble left by the boy. His whereabouts were uncertain, and others could not contact him easily. The flower on the street was slightly stunned for a moment, and her eyes involuntarily crossed a bit of complicated color. She pursed her lips and didn't speak. Hua Qianlu saw this, and his look in his eyes was a little deeper. It seemed that his mood had changed, but it didn't take a moment to recover as usual. As for what happened after that, I think you should change someone to understand. After all, I'm not on the spot. What I know is limited. Yes, I know. The flowers on the street gathered their eyes, and the eyes covered by the long eyelashes were very complicated. After sitting down for a while, she raised her eyes and said, what's the relationship between Nanha and him? This problem has been pressing in her heart for a long time. Now that Hua Qianlu's words have been mentioned in this way, she will not be restrained, so as not to miss today. On her day, she will become the same person in the past, so that this matter cannot be explained, which makes her feel strange. When Hua Qianlu heard the words, he burst out with a smile, and his face was full of narrow color. It's a pity that Xiaomo Hua is jealous of Brother Beicheng. It's so lovely that he can't hear it with his own ears. She said so, the original dull atmosphere was eased a little, the heart of Mo Shanghua was not as heavy as just now, but it didn't get better immediately, just waiting for the answer of Hua Qianlu quietly, and touching the fingertips of palm didn't release half a minute. I can't tell you that. Seeing the appearance of Mo Shanghua's expectation, Hua Qianlu deliberately sold the lawsuit. If you want to know, you can point to Brother Beicheng's nose and question him. He is so afraid that he will tell you clearly. Say, oneself also can't help laughing, but still want to carry elegant posture, shake folding fan. The flowers on the street can't smile at all. After Hua Qianlu said so, her heart is more chaotic than before, and the questions in her heart keep popping up one by one. I shouldn't go back too late, otherwise it will cause a lot of trouble and I won't stay long, so I'll go back. I can't help but feel anxious. Mo Shanghua can't help but stand up and get ready to go back to the mansion. Hua Qianliu's smile didn't decrease, and he didn't leave more flowers in his street. He just raised his voice and called, "Come on, take Miss Qinya," and she said her master is going back. He can guess what is the mood of Mo Shanghua now. If he stops him, I'm afraid I don't need Mo Shanghua. Only Yan Beicheng will be able to split him. Soon after Hua Qianliu's words, someone answered outside the door. Not long after that, Qinya came back with the maid. Mo Shanghua is now eager to return home, but he didn't tell Qin Yadhua. He only told her that he wanted to go back earlier, so he took her back to his house. Hua Qianlu looks at the empty position on the opposite side and the half cup of tea left by the flower in the street. The smile on her lips gradually fades down, and the mood just flashed up at this time. He volunteered to be the peacemaker. How could he be a little unhappy now? It seemed that he had personally sent the woman to another man. Thinking of this, his eyes suddenly became gloomy and dark. Aware of this, he quickly cut off his thoughts, and no longer wanted to think deeply. It's a lot of things. It's really a lot of things. At the corner of his lips, he lifted a seemingly specious smile, took up the tea and drank it as if it was not tea but good liquor. When they came back to the palace, it was almost the end of the day. Many places in the palace had been locked. However, Mo Hanghua seemed to forget it. He told Qin Lin, go to see Dr. Lu. Then he said, I'm not feeling well. Ask him to come as soon as possible. Qin Lin was stunned and turned his eyes to Qinya. Seeing this, Qinya was also in a bit of a dilemma. She couldn't help reminding her, Princess, it's time now. You can't leave any foreign men in the mansion. Imperial Dr. Lu has already returned to the mansion. Mo Shanghua almost blurts out, and asks Qin Lin to take her token to go out and ask Lu Yui. Fang wants to get out of her throat, and she swallows it again. She just after knowing reaction come over, busy will be in the heart of the state of mind again. I'm just impatient. You all go back. I think I need a good rest. Although she was pressed down for a while, she was still a little irritable in her heart. Qin Yaban wanted to retreat, but Qin Lin didn't mean to. He took out a piece of paper from his sleeve, presented it to him, and said in sign language, Princess, the letter you gave me yesterday has passed quietly. This is the reply I received this morning. This matter is extraordinary. Mo Shanghua also did not refuse, the letter received, I know, you also go to have a rest. Qin Lin and Qinya retired according to their words. Mo Shanghua put up her agitation, opened the folded letter, and saw the same succinct writing of, no action, on it. The handwriting is vigorous and powerful, which shows that the writer has strong internal power. Mo Shanghua saw only feel that his injury now is a good recovery. In her mind now only she and Yan Beicheng have been calculated by this person. If she doesn't prepare a thank you gift for him, then I'm really sorry for him. The next day, Mo Shanghua asked Qin Lin to go to the gate of the mansion early to pay attention to the position. As soon as he saw Lu Zheng entering the mansion, he didn't even let him go to the medicine hall in the mansion, so he invited him directly to the courtyard. Until he saw the flowers on the street, Lu Zheng was still in an unknown state. The princess asked Qin Lin to wait for Wei Chen at the door of the mansion in the early morning. I don't know what's the emergency. After a pause, he seemed to think of something, and his face was tight. Is it because your injury is unstable and suddenly attacks? Mo Shanghua shook her head, pondered for a long time, and then said, I just want to know when the Lord came to see me when I was in a coma that day. Lu Zheng didn't know that Mo Shanghua had already known that Yan Beicheng was a cloaker, so he concealed it even though he didn't want to. The princess didn't see it too. The prince came here only after you were sober. How could you suddenly think of it? The flower on the street doesn't believe it. From Lu Zheng's eyes, she can see that what he said is not true. But that's not what she wants to know. Thinking of this, she was very serious and said, Dr. Liu, although we don't have any feelings, this matter is really important to me now. I have to have the cheek to ask you, can you tell me the truth? Her black and white and clear eyes, staring at him like this, made his heart soften. Those words that had been used thousands of times in his heart could not be uttered. After pondering for a long time, his eyes twinkled slightly, and he simply changed the story of that day. Since you want to know, I will not hide it from you. In fact, that day, the Lord came to see you and kept you for a long time. For a moment, the flower on the street only felt that the string that had been pulled out for a long time and squeezed together with the others suddenly came back. The burden of the heart suddenly lightened a lot, and the melancholy spirit of the chest completely smoothed down. But in addition, her eyes or hard to cover across a complex color. On the one hand, he knew that he had misunderstood Yan Beiqing's guilt, and on the other hand, he knew that Yan Beiqing had been very kind to him. She couldn't tell what kind of emotion it was. She felt warm in her heart, but somehow she resisted it from her heart, as if it was like a virus, which made her want to expel it quickly. Princess, princess. Lu Zhen called the flower on the street, but she didn't respond. She could not help but reach out and shake it in front of her. Mo Shanghua this just returned to God, quite apologetic look to Lu Zheng, sorry, I just temporarily left God. No harm. Lu Zheng smiles slightly, his eyes are gentle, but his eyes are a bit complicated. The princess's mental state is not very good recently. It seems that she is more easily absorbed than before. You will never be like this before. After Lu Zheng said so, Mo Shanghua realized later that he was in general, his eyes were tiny, and he flashed a little, maybe there are many things recently, and he didn't have a good rest. Lu Zheng's eyes were fixed on the flowers on the street, and he said, I once said that sometimes the eyes of a princess can't deceive people. It used to be because of Yanbei City, but now it is. The flower's eyes on the street were just about to say something, but he saw that Lu Zheng had already stood up and bowed slightly to salute. I'll go to ask Mrs. Xue for a pulse later and leave first. Said, then directly carried the medicine box to retreat. Mo Shanghua stares at Lu Zheng's leaving direction for a moment, and then just sits back. The look inside the eyes is complicated again. What is the meaning of Lu Zhenglin saying? Is it hard to remind her that she has changed her temper because of Yanbei City? But how could she do that because of Yan Beiqing? Is she's in love with him? It is inevitable that this idea appears in the flower heart of the stranger, but it is quite different from the girl's behavior. If the girl next to her is sure of her own thoughts, she is either extremely shy, or ecstatic, or stunned. At this time, her heart is inexplicably confused. In her previous life, although she had never been in touch with love, and had never seen any merry drama, she didn't understand this kind of emotion, but she clearly understood that if she liked someone, that person would be her weakness. If you don't strike, it's fatal. In this way, how could she not panic? After all, she still has a lot of risky things to do. How terrible it is to have such a weakness. So think, Mo Shanghua is headache incomparable, she is really don't know, now has moved the feeling of her, such as the face of such a weakness, and what to plan. Forget it, Yan Beiqing won't come to see her again these days. It's better to take advantage of this time and do something else to avoid wasting time. Mo Shanghua's heart at the moment is broken. Then he thinks of Qin Lin, who took the medicine with Qinya at the same time, but has not improved so far. He says, Qinya, go and call your brother. Yes. Qinya nodded, then turned around and went out. After a while, she brought Qin Lin in. Qin Lin, come here. The flower in the street saw that Qin Lin was standing in the same place, waiting for orders. She didn't bother to explain more and spoke directly. Qin Lin nodded, and then went to the flower in front of him. Mo Shanghua saw this and took the wrist pillow from one side, indicating that he would put his wrist on it. Qin Lin didn't want to, so he put his obedient hands on it. But when he saw that Mo Shanghua's hand was following him, and he wanted to put it on his wrist, he immediately withdrew his hand. This just reflects to come over to spend to want to do of Qin Lin, quickly start to keep waving hand to shake head to refuse, with whole body and express to refuse. Seeing Qin Lin's appearance, Qinya immediately came over and explained, Princess, my brother is afraid of polluting your hands. Mo Shanghua came over and simply straightened her face and looked at Qin Lin with solemn eyes. This is an order. You must follow it. Seeing this, Qinya quickly whispered, Brother, you can't listen to the order of the princess. You'd better accept it quickly. Qin Lin still hesitated, but seeing that the stranger's face was so grim, he could not resist, so he was very coy and released his hand. Mo Shanghua wanted to feel his pulse directly. Seeing that he was so coy at the moment, he took a handkerchief to cover his wrist, and then put up his plain hand. According to the pulse, we should not. For a moment, my brow is tiny. I can't help but frown a little and whisper to myself. Qinya and Qin Lin's face in the audience is not clear. After a while, Mo Shanghua took back her hand and said, Qin Lin, open your mouth, and then try to follow my movements to pronounce. Qin Lin nodded his head, then saw Mo Shanghua slowly open his mouth, and his mouth issued the syllable, ah. Seeing this, Qin Lin opened his mouth slowly, and his throat gave out a hoarse and broken syllable similar to ah. Although he tried to learn how to make a sound, the word ah was just a figure, which was not accurate. Such a broken sound, which he would occasionally make, was not so surprising. Mo Shanghua patiently waited for Qin Lin to make this sound, and her mouth continued to close slowly, saying the word I very slowly. Qin Lin also slowly closed her mouth with difficulty. She thought that she would utter words that could not be regarded as language just now, but she did not expect that she had tried many times in the guide of Mo Shanghua, and she succeeded in uttering a vague I in a hoarse voice. In the past, it was impossible. Qinya Dun's eyes were wide open, and he was surprised and happy. Big brother, you. Qin Lin himself was stunned. His face was at a loss. He couldn't react for a long time. Princess, what's the matter, brother? Is that okay? Qinya tried to restrain her excitement and turned to ask. She was surprised, but she couldn't hide the tension. She was afraid that it was just an accident. Under the close gaze of the two people, Mo Shanghua's delicate jaw gently said, from the pulse and the performance of Qin Lin just now, he can really speak, and this medicine should have worked a few days ago, not later than you. Qin Lin's whole body froze, but the eyes of such a strong man were gradually moist, and his face was full of excitement. Qin Lin was equally excited and ecstatic, as if she was the one who was cured. He grabbed Qin Lin's arm and said excitedly, "Brother, you can speak. Will you laugh at me for this again?" With that, tears ran down her white cheeks. Qin Lin busily wiped away the tears on her cheek with the palm of her hand. He opened his mouth to comfort her with words. After a long time, he just vomited a vague word, "I." Seeing this, Qinya couldn't help but wonder. She quickly held back her tears and looked at the flowers on the street, sobbing, "Princess, what's the matter? Don't you say that my brother is ready to speak? Why is that still the case today?" As she spoke, her white and tender hands could not help holding Qin Lin's sleeve tightly, for fear that the answer would be too worrying. Qin Lin was naturally flustered, but seeing that his family was nervous, he habitually put on the appearance of elder brother and tried to keep calm. Seeing that they were so nervous, Mo Shanghua couldn't help smiling. "You don't have to be so nervous. Just now, Qin Lin has been aphasia, because he hasn't spoken for a long time. It's also the reason why he hasn't been able to write for a long time. In the future, we just need to teach him word by word." After a pause, she said, "It's also my own problem these days. I haven't had time to give Qin Lin a diagnosis and treatment, so it's not a big mistake now. Qinya, you and Qin Lin are brothers and sisters, and they are often together. Come to teach Qin Lin to speak well in the future." Qin Lin was greatly relieved, and then grinned very simple and honest. Qinya was already overjoyed when she heard the words of Mo Shanghua. She even stopped her tears. Now she got the words of Mo Shanghua, and she couldn't hide her smile. Yes, I know. The princess doesn't have to blame herself too much. How depressed you are these days, I see it in my eyes. Mo Flower slightly nodded, eyes color Qingming, rest assured, I will not be so. Then she saw that Qin Lin and Qinya were in a good mood at the moment, and added, you two are so happy. I'm outstanding. You can take a break for 2 days and come back to serve in 2 days. Qinya, you must have not played enough before you went out of the house. I'll give you my waist tag. You can go out with Qin Lin as much as possible. Qin Lin and Qinya both looked at each other and saw a similar smile. They knelt down and bowed down to salute, thank you for your kindness. Don't be polite. Get up. Mo Shanghua came forward to help them, and then took out the waist tag and put it into Qinya's hand, go. Qinya took the waist token, couldn't help blinking at the flowers on the street, and said with a smile, the maidservant is not here these 2 days, the concubine should not always think about it. If I'm here every day, I'm afraid my ears are not clean. With a smile in his eyes and eyebrows, he made fun of Qinya. Qinya's ruddy lips pouted out and said angrily, the princess is so disgusted with the maid. The maid will shut her mouth in front of the princess in the future to see if you are suffocating. Sharp teeth and sharp mouth. Mo Shanghua raised her hand and lightly touched Qinya's forehead. If you talk back again, you will be punished for your monthly salary. Hearing this, Qinya immediately begged for mercy, good princess, I don't want to say it. You can never deduct my monthly money. Qin Lin couldn't put in any words, so he just looked at it quietly, with a smile on his lips. He was in a good mood. The whole room is a rare laughter, even the air seems to be infected with a cheerful atmosphere. The next day after Qin Lin and Qinya were allowed to have a rest, they disappeared early in the morning. They must have gone out to play somewhere. Mo Shanghua thought that for such a rare 2-day leisure, they didn't let anyone know where they were going. He simply let them go to play. However, she didn't have Qinya to wait on her for a while, but she didn't get used to it for a while. After calling no one, she subconsciously wanted to go to Qinya's room to see why she didn't get up. Recently, it's getting more and more pretentious. In the middle of the line, the flower in the street stopped and began to speak in a low voice. In her previous life, she has always been alone, and her emotions are not as rich as they are now. Now, in her own words, she is more than twice as sentimental. Shaking his head, Mo Shanghua just turned back to the bedroom, just went in, and saw a maid looking around in the room, as if looking for something. What are you doing? Mo Shanghua's face coagulated and stepped in. Happy princess. Hearing this, the maid turned around. She was a maid who was in charge of sweeping. She is also smart, see the flower face slightly coagulation, afraid she misunderstood, hurriedly explained, Sister Qinya is not here today, maidservant is ordered by Sister Qinya to be on duty outside, just came in and asked no one to answer, this is to explore everywhere. The eyes of the flower in the street were silent like a well for a moment. Seeing her face as usual, she nodded, tell me, what's the matter? If you go back to the princess, it's Mrs. Nan who wants to see you. Now she's waiting in the hall. At this juncture, what happened to Nanha? If no one mentioned it, she almost forgot that the relationship between Nanha and Yan Beiqing is still unclear. If she had to ask Yan Beiqing herself, she was afraid that she would not be able to say anything. But if she didn't ask, she would have a feeling that she couldn't explain clearly. She didn't want to see Nanha originally. After all, her ears are just clear now. But at this time, she suddenly changed her mind. You go back and I'll be there later. Yes. See the princess. The south crane sees the flower on the road, this just not anxious not slowing rises to worship. No gift. Mo Shanghua stepped up to the top of the throne and sat down. Then she turned her eyes to look at the south crane. At this time, the south crane was still pale and sick. It was almost summer, and he was still wearing a thick brocade cloak. He looked very weak and pitted. Mo Shanghua habitually carried the celadon painted gold teacup in his hand, but the light of his eyes fell on Nanhe, look at your face, it seems that the disease is not all right. South Crane slightly nodded, lips with a touch of light soft wan smile. Thank you for your concern. These days have been accompanied by the prince. The prince is gentle and affectionate, the maid concubine is more considerate, now already much better. The flowers on the street are as quiet as the valley. The color of the eyes is a little deeper, and the lips are slightly indisputable. The air stagnated for a moment. He was surprised to think that he had said something wrong, so he got up and knelt down, with a low brow. I'm guilty. I said something wrong for a while, which made the princess unhappy. I hope the princess will forgive me. Mo Shanghua didn't open her mouth immediately. Instead, she played with the teacup in her hand for a long time and then said, when did I say I was unhappy? It's really hard for you to be so understanding. You can see what you have at a glance. No wonder the Lord has to accompany you all the time. That said, there was no intention of getting her up. Nanji was not flustered at all. She lowered her eyebrows and gathered her eyes. She knelt quietly in front of the flowers on the street. The words of the princess are blaming the maidservant and concubine. After a pause, without waiting for the flowers to bloom, she continued, now that all the words have come to this place, the maidservant and concubine will simply make it clear. My concubine's trip was originally an apology to the princess. The cut willow eyebrows of the flowers on the street were slightly raised, with a smile on their face. I don't know which one you're talking about. Has Nanha done little these days? It's so puzzling today. It seems that we need to explore the reason. Now, let's listen to what she sings first. The South Crane hears speech, not vexed also not flustered, the warm voice soft language also does not lose dignified slowly to open mouth, the maidservant concubine knows, the princess these days mood is not good, mostly because the prince accompanies in the maidservant concubine day by day, seldom comes to see the princess, causes the princess to miss the prince in the illness, but always cannot see, has harmed so many days gas, all these are maidservant concubines not. The flower on the street opens the lid of the golden teacup and gently blows away the floating tea foam on the tea. It looks like it doesn't care much. Although the surface is like this, actually in her heart already sneer repeatedly. This South Crane surface says of so good to listen to, difficult isn't to intentionally come to show off Rongpet with her. Seeing that the flower on the street didn't speak, and the corners of his lips were tiny and indisputable, he quickly gathered them back. But I've known the Lord for several years. Before I entered the palace, I knew that the Lord was affectionate and gentle. You don't want to see that he has been so kind to me these days. In fact, I don't care too much about our love for many years. Speaking of this, she suddenly changed her tone, quite serious and sincere. I can see that you are in the heart of the Lord, but I heard that you had a quarrel a few days ago. The Lord loves face and naturally refuses to bow down. If you are willing to admit your mistake to the Lord will treat you as usual. Mo Shanghua's hand holding the tea was slightly stunned, and his eyes were a little chilly. So, the purpose of your coming here today is to show off your supreme honor or to persuade me and the Lord. Before the South Crane opened his mouth, the flower on the street said coldly, in my opinion, you are more like the former. The South Crane body immediately lowered to go down, the brow of Lo hang down has no half-cent change actually, maidservant concubine is not this meaning, the princess misunderstood. Mo Shanghua puts the teacup on the table. The teacup collides with the table and makes a slightly dull sound. The tea splashes on the inner wall of the teacup. In that case, why do you sit with a prince every day? The right one has known the prince for many years. Nanji, oh no, you are now a side princess. I should call you a side princess. Then, Nanbian princess, you should talk about it now. Do you mean to humiliate my princess with such words? The South Crane's eyes passed a happy look at the success of the scheme, but his face was in a state of panic. The princess forgives me, but I have no such intention. After a pause, when Mo Shanghua was about to open her mouth again, she suddenly said, I only want to make amends because I got the hint from the prince. If the princess doesn't believe me, she can ask the prince in person. Mo Shanghua stood up and looked up at the South Crane kneeling on his head. Her red lips opened gently. You're not only guessing the intention of the Lord without permission, but also coming here with your own ideas. It's time to end on your own. However, even if you want to end well at the moment, the princess has no time to act with you. If you want to kneel, you can kneel. I don't want to accompany you. Finish saying, Mao Guang moves away from South Crane body, don't look at her one eye, then straight over her, left here. From the moment she stood up, the whole person seemed to put on the dragon robe that only the emperor could wear, and looked down at the people with an absolutely high attitude. Nanha was at her feet, as if he was humble as a small mole ant, which could not be compared with her at all. Although she didn't want to admit it, Nanha had to say that she was just like a mole ant, which made her strong self-esteem thump again. She held her fingers tightly, and her slender nails almost pierced the tender flesh of her palm. However, at the thought of the jealousy in Mo Shenghua's eyes, she could not help but gently raise her lips, and her anger was quickly dispersed. Mo Shenghua, no matter you guess it or not, her goal of Nanha today has been successfully achieved. She had already figured it out, even if Mo Shenghua guessed that her purpose today was to deliberately destroy her feelings with Yan Beicheng, but what about that? She knows emotion best. Even if it is clear that other people are deliberately sabotaging, as long as they hear about the beloved man and other women, their hearts will be uncontrollable jealousy. Mo Shenghua is also a woman, which is no exception. The most important thing is that as early as before, she had planted a seed about her relationship with Yan Beicheng in Mo Shenghua. After a long time, it will naturally take root and sprout and become more and more lush. As for whether she will know the truth from Yan Beicheng, she is not worried. She knows him. How can he break his important chess because of a woman, and then break more plans in the future? Now, she just has to wait for the day when Mo Shenghua continues to quarrel with Yan Beicheng because of her jealousy. At that time, it's time to let her handle it. Thinking of the days after the flowers on the street were rejected by Yan Beicheng, she felt much more comfortable. Sighed Imperial Concubine, how do you kneel here? Just as he was thinking about it, one of the maidservants who was assigned to serve Nan he came in with a wooden box in her arms. No harm, just a few admonitions from the princess. Nan he shook his head, but he got up immediately. When the maid came, she was supporting her. When she got up, she deliberately pressed most of her weight on her maidservant, making a state of kneeling knee damage for a long time. Sighed Imperial Concubine. Even so, the maid easily lifted her up, symbolically worried. I'm fine. Let's go back. Nan he nibbles his lip and walks out of the hall with the help of his maid. Yes. When the maid saw this, she was naturally hard to say anything. However, when he thought of the things in the wooden box, he couldn't help saying more. Princess, what about the dong yi jiao in the box? It's the best yi jiao. You're not willing to use it. Do you want to give it now? She just came here now because she forgot to bring it when she came out. She was sent back by Nanha. She came later and missed everything. Don't bother the princess. Let's go back. Nanha glanced at the wooden box. After careful consideration, he just said so. They left one after another. It has to be said that Nanha's method is indeed the most effective and the most lethal. How does Mo Shenghua tell herself again and again in her heart that she can't believe it, but she still fantasizes about the past and present of hundreds of Yanbei City and Nanha in her mind, which makes her feel depressed and painful. The seed that Nanha had planted earlier really grew slowly in her heart. The branch of the tree almost pierced her heart and pierced countless blood holes, overflowing with a little pain. The real relationship between Nanha and Yan Beicheng had to be brought to the stage by her. It was like a tangled thread winding around her heart, which made her feel a bit depressed besides pain. Mo Shenghua irritably pushed down a writing case filled with writing brush. The writing brush suddenly scattered all over the table and fell into the inkstone. Several writing brushes dipped in ink rolled on the table and stained the writing case with a lot of ink. Mo Shenghua stares at the dots of ink on the dark red sandalwood tabletop, only to feel that the whole person is stunned. After a while, she comes back to her senses, and can't help fretting and grabbing the neat bun. She had just lost her sense of propriety. She was so unlike herself that she could never let herself go on like this. So thinking, Mo Shanghua does not close his eyes, and tries to drive Yan Beiqing's figure out of his mind. However, the more Yan Beiqing's figure was following her, no matter what. No, she can't. She has to find something for herself. Mo Shanghua thinks of Yunji in the wing room, and suddenly realizes that it's a good way to forget other things. Without even clearing up the bookcase, she directly finds her own medicine bag and covers her veil, so that Yunji won't see that she is stimulated. So she goes to the wing room. At this time, Yunji's chest injury has been healed. Her face, which had been emaciated because she had been sent to a place similar to the cold palace, now has some meat, and has recovered her old health and mellow. The maid who is in charge of taking care of Yunji sees that the flowers are coming, so she goes forward actively. Princess, this is the record of Mrs. Yun's daily food, drink and residence for half a month, as well as the medication record. The maid was selected by Qinya, and she did things carefully. Qinya told her that she did things carefully. Every page was very neat and detailed. The key points to write down were half lost, and the superfluous things she didn't need to remember were not mentioned at all. Mo Shanghua nodded slightly, took the notebook handed over by the maid, looked at it carefully, and said, "Not bad." "Thank you, princess." The maid did not lift her head when she saw the flower on the street. She looked very serious. The one with eyes didn't say much. She just bowed herself and gave a salute. She quietly stepped aside and waited for the flower's orders at any time. Mo Shanghua continued to look at the pamphlet in his hand, and his heart was slowly settled. When she settled down, she read the booklet much faster. After a while, she closed the booklet, turned her eyes and looked at the maid. "According to the book, Yunji is sleeping now. Before you come here, I have seen it. Madame Yun is asleep now." Here Mo Shanghua asked, "Have been waiting for the maid as far as possible next to this just came forward, obedient mouth. I'll go in and have a look. You have a good record of this book, and you can continue to do so in the future." Mo Shanghua gives the booklet back to Qinya, puts on the veil, and enters the bedroom with a bead curtain. At that time, Yunji was lying on the bed with her eyes closed. She was breathing long, and obviously she was very well asleep. Nevertheless, Yunji wakes up in the middle of the journey, and Mo Shanghua seals her sleeping hole first to ensure that she won't wake up. Then, Mo Shanghua leans down to lift the thin quilt on Yunji's body, revealing her whole upper body, and then continues to untie the middle garment buckle neatly, revealing the inner garment close to her body. The inner garment is very small, which can only cover the chest and abdomen. As for the position of the left chest and heart, it is inevitable to show. Now the bandage has been removed from Yunji's left chest wound, and the view inside the house is excellent. The flowers on the street can clearly see that the original ferocious knife wound has been healed for most of the time, leaving only the broken scars. Seeing that the wound is so good, she decides a lot. She takes out the plaster and spreads it on Yunji's wound. Then she rearranges her clothes. At present, the injury is better than half, and she won't crack the wound because of the emotional collapse during the treatment. Next, she will also seize the time to treat Yunji's madness. Thinking of this, she simply sat down at the edge of the bed, took Yunji's wrist out of the clinic, confirmed it again, and saw that the injury was really stable, so she began to prepare to wake her up. Just as she was about to solve her sleeping hole, she heard a voice of annoyance from outside the sand window in the quiet room. It was so loud that she tried to pretend that she could not hear it. Besides, it seemed that it was Qinya. At this time, how could Qinya come back in a huff? What happened? Thinking about this, Mo Shanghua didn't think about it for the time being, so he put Yunji's wrist back and got up and went out. When she got out of the wing room, she saw that Qinya was sitting in the corridor, holding her face in both hands. She was very angry, and cursed from time to time. These snobbish people are used to being at the helm of the wind. The princess is not out of favor now. They dare to be like this. Qin Lin's nature is simple and honest, and he is a cucurbitary. But he has always loved Qinya. If he had been comforted by Qinya, he didn't say a word now, and his face is not very good. It can be seen that he is also angry. Mo Shanghua sees this, in the heart about also understand a few minutes, lift a step then stride to go, is who, see again is what wind, what rudder. Qinya has always been a straightforward character. When she saw the flowers coming from a stranger, she couldn't help but say, it's not the things in the house that look down on people. Seeing this, Qin Lin quickly put his hand over Qinya's mouth and said in sign language, Princess, it's useless for us. You are useful and useless. The important thing is, how can I be bullied easily by others when I am a stranger to flowers? The flowers on the street suddenly became cold, and the temperature of the whole body dropped suddenly. Qin Lin, although you let Qinya say, I want to see who bullied my people. Qin Lin felt a shock all over his body, and was moved by the words of Mo Shanghua. Unconsciously, he released his hand to cover Qinya's mouth. As soon as Qinya got rid of it, she stood up quickly and said angrily, well, my brother and I have been walking around the house. I wanted to go to the house to listen to the music you said last time, but when I got to the door, I got the waist tag, but the bodyguard refused to let the maid and brother go out. At this point, she swallowed and exchanged her breath. She was about to continue to say that Qin Lin had let her say, but when Qinya said that, he could not help but raise his hand to stop her. But Qinya always has a quick tongue. Before he had time, he saw Qinya's mouth bulging. He continued angrily, what else do they say? You are still forbidden. As people in your house, your maidservant and elder brother will naturally follow you. You can't step out of the palace, even if you have a waist tag. At this point, her mouth Emil, faltering for a long time, but still bite the lip, did not continue to say. Mo Shanghua knows Qinya's character best. When she looks like this, she knows that she must have something to say. She calmly says, go on. Qin Lin and Qinya have been with Mo Shanghua for a long time. Naturally, they know her personality. Seeing that her face is so calm, they know that she is angry now, and her words can't be disobeyed. Qinya hesitated for a moment for fear that she would not say that the flower meeting on the street would be even more irritated. She said, when I came back, I heard a lot of girls talking about it, saying that Madame Nan has been granted the side imperial concubine now, and you are out of favor with the prince. I'm afraid you will be replaced soon. The more she talked about the back, the smaller her voice was. Her eyes were always looking up at the flower's face. I was afraid that she was angry. There was a dead silence in the air. Qinya was so annoyed that she couldn't help looking up at her brother helplessly and remorsefully. However, Qin Lin at that time didn't know how to persuade him. She scratched her head and looked upset. When both of them were very upset, they saw the silent flowers on the street for a long time. The corners of their lips suddenly moved slightly, and set off a little cold radiance. There was a full color of ice between their eyes and eyebrows. Good. Qin Lin's heart is a move, some nervous looking at the flowers on the street, just afraid that she will directly change face next second. However, after waiting for a long time, the face of the flower on the street is still calm as before, only the whole body is suddenly cold. It's as cold as a hole in the ice in the cold winter. She directly took out the princess's private seal that only the princess was qualified to use, and sent it to Qinya. You take this thing directly, and tell them that no matter what the future may be, now most of the power of the palace is still in the hands of the princess, and the ban is only limited to my not leaving the courtyard. As for the people in the courtyard, they can go in and out at will. After a pause, she said, if they still refuse to release people, you will directly change their posts and drive them out of the government. Seeing the private seal is like seeing the princess being killed by me. If they really don't pay attention to me, there's no need to stay in the palace. Qinya held the private seal in her hand. Seeing that it was only 2 thumbs in thickness, she felt as if she had weighed 1,000 pounds. She said hurriedly, Princess, this can't be used. This private seal is so important. If it's damaged. Seeing this, Qin Lin quickly and carefully took it back from Qinya's heart and presented it to Mo Shanghua again. He blurted out a sentence, yes, yes, no, no, mo. So vague language, can only vaguely guess can't make, but the words behind is half also can't guess, but its meaning is almost the same. You've used it, and it's not too late to return. Mo Shanghua closed the palm of Qin Lin's hand and pushed back, I can't go out now. They don't dare to say more with this, so you always have to accept it. At this point, she suddenly thought of something, and her eyes were cold. As for those who chew their tongue, I can't help it, but I can't help it. I just grab a few first-class servant girls to fight and blame them. If I do this, I can lock many people's mouths. Qinya heard what Mo Shanghua said. She was frightened at the beginning of her life. She immediately clenched her fist and was eager to give it a try. Princess, you can rest assured that your maidservant will never give them good fruit this time. She will surely earn our face back. They will dare to bully us in the future. Qin Lin stood with her lips for a long time, then pulled Qinya to kneel down and gave a big salute to the flowers on the street. Qinya understood Qin Lin's intention at the moment of kneeling down. She also accepted the smile, straightened out her posture and saluted. Mo Shanghua looked at their solemn appearance, but her heart was a little complicated. I just lost a little favor. Why are you two so easily moved? My heart is so soft that I am afraid I will be easily hindered by it in the future. Just thinking about it, he saw Qin Lin raise his head and use sign language slowly. The princess will not be angry easily. If she can be angry today, it will be enough to see her treating us. Mo Shanghua understood Qin Lin's meaning, but she was stunned in her heart. I didn't know before that you were a man, but you were so careful. I'm afraid Qinya didn't even think of this detail, but Qin Lin was very careful when he read it here. Qin Lin smelled the speech, but he was a little embarrassed to smile, and his weak cheek showed a bit of shyness. Brother, why are you blushing? Qinya glanced at Qin Lin's manner, and could not help shouting, laughing at him. Qin Linton raised his hand and poked Qinya's forehead. Then he gave another salute to Mo Shanghua, and quickly took his private seal and left. Seeing this, Qinya spat out her tongue at the flower on the street and chased her out. Mo Shanghua saw two people leave, can't help rubbing the forehead, face with helpless color. The temperament of these two brothers and sisters is quite different. At that time, in the imperial city prime minister's mansion, Lu Qianqian received the urgent secret letter from Yuzhou 800. After burning it under the candle fire, he called Qing'er in. Qing'er, get ready. I'm going to change my clothes to see my father. By the way, I'll cook the blood swallow which was given by Empress Shu a few days ago. Later, I'll take it to my father together. Yes. Qing'er bows and prepares. When everything is ready, Lu Qianqian goes to Lu Xiang's study with a newly cooked swallow. At this time, Lu Xiangzhen was sitting in front of the case, looking at some spies, frowning, as if he was worried about something. When the guard in front of the study saw that it was Lu Qianqian who was coming, he didn't stop them. Lu Qianqian asked them not to report, so no one dared to move. It's not because of Lu Qianqian's bad temper. On the contrary, Lu Qianqian's temper is so good that he was replaced by someone else. He has been living in exile for more than 10 years. The master feels guilty and loves her very much. There is no one in the house to compare with him. Such a master, of course, they should always be careful and put on the top of their hearts. Is Dad worried about the affairs in the court again? In the study, when it was quiet, Lu Qian's soft voice suddenly rang out. If someone else dares to disturb him at this time, Lu Xiang must be angry on the spot. But at this time, he has no anger on his face. Instead, he stretches his eyebrows and says, Qianqian, it's so late. How did you come here? Lu Qianqian's gentle and dignified face habitually brought a smile, which made people feel close. I heard that the boarder is always restless these days. When Qianqian guessed, he knew that his father must be worried about it, so he personally cooked the bird's nest to give his father relief. With that, he turned around and took down the gold cup with the blood swallow from the tray that Qing'er had been carrying for a long time. He gently placed it in front of Lu Xiang. It was elegant. Seeing this, Qing'er said sweetly, Master, this swallow is on the palace banquet a few days ago. The lady gave it to you, but the girl hasn't been willing to eat it. Lu Xiang's heart was filled with the comfort of his daughter's understanding, but now listening to Qing'er's words, his heart adds a bit of guilt. It was all his fault that made the child so rare, even a blood swallow. However, her filial piety was really rare. Think of here, he sees Lu Qianqian's vision more and more cherish. Qianqian, you are so filial and sensible. How can you make up for what you owe your father? Lu Qianqian hurriedly shook, his face disapproved of the color. Father, don't want to say so, that year's thing is just an accident. Qianqian now so happy, father, or quickly eat this bird's nest, a while can be cold. Then, for fear that Lu Xiang couldn't put down the things in his hand, he quickly took the spy to prevent him from looking at it. This kind of bold behavior, if you change to be a stranger in the past, you will be scolded for not knowing the rules. But now, Lu Qianqian does it, but she only feels cute. Well, father, I'll listen to you. The more Lu Xiang looks at Lu Qianqian, the more cute he feels. He has a smile on his face. He simply listens to her and starts eating the bird's nest. Taking advantage of Lu Xiang's porridge time, Lu Qianqian looks around like he's bored. Then he lowers his head and curiously opens up the spy. Coincidentally, this spy report is about the border people. It's not surprising that the news has been spread all over the world. As for the private ones, Yan Moli was defeated and seriously injured at that time, and he was recuperating in the nearby city of Yanbei. What's more, the mobs had harassed Yuzhou once last time, but they had been repelled by the guards. Lu Xiang is eating bird's nest with his head down. He has never noticed Lu Qian's action. When he finds out, Lu Qianqian has already looked at the spy. He mumbles to himself as if he is in a trance. It's such a thing, but it's not as tricky as he imagined. Lu Qianqian's murmur came to his ears. Lu Xiang noticed what Lu Qianqian was doing. His face suddenly changed. Qianqian, what are you doing? Lu Qianqian didn't peep at Yao Zheng's fear when he was found. He just looked up at Lu Xiang, who was still immersed in the espionage. My daughter is just thinking about how to expel these people. Lu Xiang originally had some taboos, but seeing Lu Qian's serious appearance, he couldn't bear to suppress his original temperament and said, how does Qianqian think? Lu Qianqian frowned and looked at the fold for a while. It seemed that he was lost in thought. After a long time, he raised his head and said, Qianqian's knowledge is shallow, but he doesn't understand it very well. He just thinks that these rioters are too strange. It's not easy to think of this when I first came into contact with this matter. Lu Xiang nodded slightly, with a look of approval on his face. There's nothing strange about it. It's just that the next small county in Yuzhou has suffered a grain disaster, and many refugees have escaped. Unexpectedly, after these refugees fled to a county near Yuzhou, they still have no money to buy food. They started by robbing their homes. Then they seem to be worried about the officers' and soldiers' suppression of bandits, and they incite people to sit up. I'm sorry for all this treachery. When Lu Qianqian heard the speech, his eyes dropped down again, and he fell into a state of meditation again. After a while, she raised her head and said, Qianqian dares to guess that the imperial court is now losing its troops after the Second Royal Highness of Yi has been calculated. What should be done in the future? Exactly, what does Qianqian have in mind? Lu Xiang originally just wanted to see what Lu Qian's opinion was. Now that he had no outsider here, he simply let her talk about her own opinion, so as not to be suffocated when she thought of things. This time, Lu Qianqian only had a little pause, and then he opened his lips and talked about it. Father, according to Qianqian, since your highness is in Yuzhou city, why don't you borrow troops from Yuzhou directly? He didn't know. He just thought it was the most convenient place. Yuzhou was a big state, so there should be at least 10,000 troops stationed here. Not right. Lu Xiangmei locked his head tightly and didn't agree with him. King Yu, the ruler of Yuzhou, is an ignorant person. He doesn't even know the garrison situation of Yuzhou, and he doesn't know how to practice. If he borrows it to His Highness at will, he will put His Highness in a dangerous place. Lu Qianqian heard the speech, but he laughed. How can my father forget that those people who are in trouble are untrained grassroots people? Even if the Yuzhou garrison is useless, it is impossible to beat them all. But they are extraordinary. If they were not, His Second Highness would not have started. At this point, Lu Xiang couldn't help sighing. He seemed very sad. Lu Qianqian thought about it carefully and thought about it for a moment before he said, although Qianqian doesn't understand these things, he probably knows that marching and fighting should pay attention to the right time and place. Since the mob can reach Yuzhou, it means that the two places are very close. Therefore, Qianqian thinks that there is really no place more suitable than that. When Lu Xiang heard the speech, he couldn't help but fall into a deep meditation and didn't speak for a long time. Seeing this, Lu Qianqian turned around and walked thoughtfully, and went on, elder sister, she has been in the Prime Minister's residence for more than 10 years. If she can write another letter, let her elder sister persuade His Royal Highness you to send the best soldiers to help His Second Highness in the future. It's not your sister. I'll talk about it later. Lu Xiang's face was ugly for a moment, and the whole face was gloomy. Lu Qianqian's lips were slightly crooked and disappeared as if it had never happened. Then, she can't help but flat mouth, a girl's home Jiaohan aggrieved appearance, yes, daughter no, in the future will not mention. Lu Xiang's face softened a little bit, but it was not so good. Well, it's getting late. You should go back to have a rest. My father will consider your idea. Yes, that father definitely wants to have a good rest. Qian leaves. After Lu Qian's graceful salute, she turned around and went out. Not long after Fang came out of the study, Lu Qian couldn't help but show his restrained smile. His eyebrows and eyes could not help letting out a bit of satisfaction, and he was in a very good mood. The fine son doesn't understand of looking at own master's son, can't help asking away, girl, the master isn't yet agree, why do you so happy now? You know what? Lu Qianqian glanced at Qing'er and said, many of these words are pointed out in His Highness's secret letter. My father is so guilty of me that he always thinks more about my words. When he just came out, didn't you see his father's look? In his heart, he clearly agrees, and he will agree in the end. When the dust settles, His Highness will surely love her more. Maybe he can settle the marriage as soon as possible. Thinking about this, the radiance of her lips became bigger and bigger, and the corners of her eyes and eyebrows were full of pride. Yuzhou Huiqianliu played with the wine in his hand and looked at Yanbei City sitting opposite him with a smile. I've said all that Xiaoma Hua should say, and then it depends on your own fortune. Yan Beicheng's sword eyebrows suddenly wrinkled, and his face was hard to understand. What kind of fortune? Hua Qianlu couldn't help laughing, as if she had heard something very interesting. I said, you don't expect a girl's family to bow to you. It's really not authentic. When Yan Beicheng heard the speech, his thin lips were slightly pursed, but his cold face was half empty. He directly turned away from the topic and said, what's the matter with the mob? Is there any news in the imperial city? Hua Qianlu put the folding fan on his forehead. A pair of fox's eyes picked up slightly and scratched a little, which meant that he didn't know what to say. Forgive me, brother Beicheng, you've been so alone for so many years. It's really not without a reason. Say, very sigh of again way, be really Magoo. Yan Beicheng raised his eyes slightly. He always looked at the willows with cold and sharp eyes. The look in his eyes was so clear that he couldn't see what he wanted. Fortunately, Hua Qianlu had a certain understanding of him, and knew that he was listening to him. So far, he didn't mention, my earliest tip here is that people in the former dynasty were arguing about the issue of the mob. Some people asked for orders to send others, and some of them supported Yan Moli. They are about to fight. It's very busy. Yan Beicheng nodded slightly, and his lips gently raised a cold radiance. Yan Moli has also handed a fold to the capital these days. I haven't found the channel for his secret message yet. I don't know what you can find there. Hua Qianlu closed the folding fan, smiling a little on his face. This boy is smart and tight. I haven't found it yet, but if time is enough, it's not impossible. Yen North City 10,000 years cold. Well, same. I color suddenly deepens, the eye inside the expression is quiet, only afraid. We can wait, he can't wait. With the private seal of the flowers on the street, the guard naturally did not dare to say anything. Qin Lin and Qin Yu took a hard breath, but they were not too arrogant. They seriously punished the garrulous servants in the house. Qi comes back to Qi, but think about it carefully. Mo Shanghua always doesn't care about his reputation, and if he uses thunder to clean up some people, he will destroy Mo Shanghua's connections in the palace. As for the next few days, Mo Shanghua was shut up in the house and treated and observed Yunji's illness. There was no movement on the South Crane's side, and every day he kept his peace. Even Yan Mo Li's side are in peace of mind to heal, without any change. This day, Mo Shanghua just came out of Yunji's side room, and saw that Qin Yazhen was looking at the direction of the door, with a strange look on her face. Mo Shanghua saw that she looked like this, so she casually asked, "You look like this, but what interesting things did you hear?" As soon as Qinya heard that the flowers were coming, she turned around and said, "Princess, I don't know if it's something wrong with my eyes or what. I just seem to have seen the Lord. But in a twinkling of an eye, I can't tell if it's true. But since the prince came to see the princess that day, he has never been to their courtyard." She was surprised to hear that he had been accompanying the princess in the south. The eyes of Hua Kongyu on the street passed a pale color, and his heart was uncontrollably depressed, but his face was unharmed. "Oh, maybe you are wrong." "Only so," said Mo Shanghua. "Only feel depressed in the heart, turn around and then want to go back to the room." Just then he turned around and saw Qinya come in like a smoke. He stuttered with the words he had just learned in recent days, while habitually gesticulating with his hands. "Princess, there is an urgent imperial edict in the front hall. The king and the lord ask you to go to the front hall to receive the edict together." "The edict?" On the street Flower Cut's beautiful thin eyebrow can't help but see you. In the heart of the alarm sound again and again hit up, in the heart big feeling is not good. Sure enough, when I got to the front hall, I found that not only Yen Beicheng was there, but also Yen Moli, who had never been out of the house, had been waiting here for a long time. The eunuch who read out the imperial edict had a dusty face. However, due to Yen Moli's identity, he did not dare to complain. When Mo Shanghua came to Yen Beicheng, the three men knelt down properly, and then they started to read out the imperial edict with a sharp male duck voice. In honor of heaven, the emperor ordered that it was a heinous crime for the people of Anzhou to hurt our people and our emperor's son. I knew from afar that the people of Anzhou were cunning and dangerous in the south of the border. I was afraid that the second prince would not be able to be pacified by himself. I specially ordered the second prince Yen Moli to be the commander-in-chief and the king of Yu Yen Beicheng to be the deputy commander-in-chief. If you need to transfer generals, you can transfer them from Yuzhou at will, and I will be here. Thank you, Lord Long. They all bent down to touch the ground with their foreheads and gave thanks. However, facing the ground, their expressions were different. Yen Moli is not surprised, eyes even calm, as if everything is under control. As for Yenbei City, it seems to be muddled, but in those deep eyes, it is full of the surging color that others can't understand. Only the flowers on the street, the ancient well-like eyes suddenly start a huge wave, willow eyebrows tightly frown into a ball. All the people in the imperial city know that Yenbei City is a real waste of firewood. Yuzhou can be managed properly in his hands only because he is a nominal person. Yuzhou's affairs are handled by his subordinates, and he has no credit at all. How could the emperor suddenly send him as deputy commander? This edict is really very strange. The eunuch didn't know how many people were thinking. After a few people gave thanks, he came forward and handed the imperial edict to Yen Moli. "Second Highness, you should put away the imperial edict. It is clear that Yenbei City is the Prince of Yipin according to the rank. Yen Moli is just a prince without a title, but the eunuch doesn't even look at Yenbei City. It's just because Yenbei City was hated by the emperor since childhood. Although he has a title, he can only stay in this remote place and has no chance to enter Beijing. Therefore, he is so powerful. Yan Emoli quietly swept Yan Beicheng's look with Yu Guang, and then politely laughed, took the imperial edict in both hands. Thank you, father-in-law. Yan Beicheng didn't care about it, as if he didn't care about it. However, his face turned bitter. How could my father suddenly send such an imperial edict down? I don't know how to march and fight. How could I make my king deputy commander? If I lost, would my father not? Before the end of a sentence, Mo Shanghua looked frightened. For fear that Yan Beicheng might say something wrong, he quickly covered his mouth, turned his head to Yan Moli and the eunuch, and explained, "The Lord has not had a good rest in recent days, and he is not in a good spirit. Maybe he didn't sleep well today. If he made a slip of the tongue, we should not blame him." The eunuch looked up and down at Mo Shanghua. Seeing that she was smiling with her, she was a little more daring, so she said sarcastically, "Oh, isn't this the concubine lady of Prime Minister Lu's family? It seems that she's living well now. Not only is her face healed, but she's also brave." The prince's golden mouth dares to cover it. He bit the word, Miss Concubine, very hard, and the eunuch said it in such a sharp duck voice, which made it very harsh. I just wanted to sew his mouth. We all know what happened to the identity of a commoner, and we can see his heart more clearly. Before Mo Shanghua was angry, Yan Beicheng took Mo Shanghua's hand down and looked at the eunuch unhappily. "My princess, I just like her. What's the matter with you? Say," put the hand of Mo Shanghua to pick up again, pulled lip side to kiss forcefully. Yan Emoli watched the play for a while. At the moment, he just opened his mouth. His eyes fell on the eunuch. "My father-in-law is coming far away. I think he is tired. Come and see him back to the post station." He was very clever to avoid talking about it. Instead, he said that the eunuch had to shut up and went out under the guidance of his servants. When she saw that someone was gone, she didn't want to be too entangled with the matter just now. She only took back her hand as usual, as if nothing had happened just now. My lord has never been given such a job before, but now His Majesty suddenly orders, which is really sudden. In the middle of the speech, her eyes turned to Yan Moli, and the light at the bottom of her eyes flickered. "Your Second Highness has always been very far-sighted. What's your opinion?" When Yan Beicheng heard the speech, he went to one side and sat down. He was very agitated and lay on the table. "Yes, it's not enough for me to accompany the beauty all day. I don't have time to go there. I really have a headache." Yan Emoli's face did not change. He said speciously, "Su Shi's brother's achievements in Wujuan a few days ago are known by his father. He wants to see his brother's ability. I don't know what I can do." Yan Beicheng immediately cried bitterly. The last thing was not the king's good luck, and the princess was smart. "This time I want the king to be the deputy commander, but it's not the king's life. Second brother, you have to save the king. Brother Huang, it's not a fatal thing. How can it be so serious?" Yan Emoli shook his head, quite a little disapproval. The flower eyes on the street shimmered and said in a soft voice, "Your Highness doesn't know. The Lord is used to idling in ordinary days. The affairs of Yuzhou are all handled by others. There is really no research on these. It's not too much to say that it's necessary to save lives for such an important thing in Lanshang now." After a pause, her willow eyebrows slightly frowned. She was distressed and worried. "Second Highness, you are the commander-in-chief. I still need to rely on you for this trip. I hope you can talk more about it." Yan Beicheng immediately nodded beside him like a pound of garlic. "What the princess said is what I think in my heart, second brother." When it comes to the back, there is a kind of begging tone in his words, and his face is full of bitterness and hatred. It can be seen that he is really worried. It seems that he is just a waste, just like the rumor. Yan Emoli Mao Guang quietly looked at Yan Beicheng's eyes, and saw that his eyes were clear, not like camouflage. He just gently pulled his lips and gave a faint smile. "Brother Huang, our palace and you are close relatives. If you are really distressed, our palace will not sit back and ignore you." After a pause, he pondered for a moment, as if thinking bitterly, the remaining 5,000 scattered soldiers of our palace will soon be able to make peace with our palace. I heard that Yuzhou has 30,000 soldiers, so the emperor's younger brother might as well send out 10,000 directly and march into Anzhou together. At that time, you just need to follow our palace in the rear. If there are soldiers going, our palace is coming to make plans. I think those chaotic people will not be able to make it if you resist, you will be defeated at this point. Mo Shanghua just roughly guessed the pass, and she could not help sneering in her heart. It turned out that he wanted to fight Yuzhou's soldiers and horses. He had many previous calculations, but he was really good at fighting step by step. Thinking about this in her heart, she said, I'm an ordinary woman, but if I need to, I'll do my part. As she spoke, her quiet eyes looked at Yan Moli and looked at him for a moment, as if she wanted to convey some message. Yan Moli naturally understood the meaning of the flowers on the street. His eyes were deep, but he didn't seem to see anything on his face. He was still polite and polite. The lord of the princess, I don't think I'm qualified to be here. They were quietly speaking some secret words. In the eyes of Yanbei City, they became strangers and talked with other men. Suddenly, they were jealous. They stepped up uncontrollably and stood in the middle of them. How can you just say something that the king doesn't understand? What's the point of not transferring troops? The king doesn't know, or did he call General Mo? Come on, but General Mo Jiang Mo, who has been guarding Yuzhou for many years. Yan Emoli picked his eyebrows slightly, with a curious look on his face. Yan Beiqing nodded and ordered people to go down and invite Mo Jiang. Fang said, Brother Huang really knows everything, even the generals of this small town know it. If you put these words on others, you have ulterior motives. But now when you put them on Yan Beiqing, they can only be regarded as unintentional words. Yan Moli naturally can't care. He just smiles modestly and has nothing else to do. Yan Beiqing's people usually don't look very reliable. At this time, they are still quick. Soon, they invite Mo Jiang over. Naturally, this kind of occasion is not suitable for Mo Hua to participate in, but she naturally did not want to miss such an occasion, so she hid in a thin curtain. Mo Jiang has been stationed at the border for many years, but he is not as handsome as many people think. On the contrary, he has a pretty face. His skin is not as white as that of a rich man. He has a healthy wheat color. Although he is not so murderous, he has a calm atmosphere and is tall and strong. If he really wants to be compared with the white face of a middle and small school in Beijing, he is more beautiful charm. The flowers on the street can't see clearly through the curtain. Only a tall figure can be seen. After coming in, Yan Moli kneels down on one knee facing Yan Beiqing. His deep voice comes from behind the curtain. Finally, he will see the Lord and his Second Highness. Get up. Yan Beiqing waved his hand impatiently, and then turned his eyes to Yan Moli. Brother Huang, this is General Mo. If you have something, just tell him. Having said that, he didn't ask Mo Jiang to obey Yan Moli's arrangement. In this way, he left a way back for himself. Yan Moli saw this, just nodded slightly, and then directly handed the imperial edict to Mo Jiang. This is the imperial edict of my father, please have a look at General Mo Jiang used to look puzzled. Now when he saw the imperial edict, his face suddenly became solemn, and he bent slightly. The emperor had an edict, and he would go through fire and water, and he would not give up. It's too serious to say that. General Mo only needs to obey military orders these days. Yan Moli stepped forward to help the people up in person and said, now, we need to know the specific number of troops stationed in Yuzhou, as well as the situation of troops and horses. We need to collect all these information one by one. Let's talk about them one by one. Although he said that, Mo Jiang was also under the command of Yanbei City. He looked up at Yanbei City and saw that he was lowering his head and pouring tea. He looked like he had nothing to do with himself. He just said, yes, Your Highness, Rongbing. The whole territory of Yuzhou now has 320,400 elite troops, which are scattered all over Yuzhou. As for troops, horses, grain and grass, Yuzhou is not rich, but these are all in supply. Yan Imo Liwen's speech, can't help but gently nod. Mao Guang quite appreciate looking at Imo Jiang. Mo General is worthy of garrison for many years, don't want to prepare to be able to question and answer like flow. Mo Jiang's head is slightly drooping, but his back is straight. These are the duties of the last general. If you can't remember them, it's wrong. Not humble, not overbearing, good. Yen Moli praised it in his heart, then stood up and said, back to the point, you have seen the imperial edict. The rebellion in Anzhou is urgent. More importantly, they reached Yuzhou a few days ago. We can't wait for General Mo to listen to the order. He suddenly said, our hall orders you to dispatch 8,000 elite soldiers from all parts of Yuzhou, and integrate them with our 5,000 scattered soldiers meeting in 3 miles outside Yuzhou tomorrow afternoon, and then set out with our hall and the emperor's younger brother to settle the chaos in Anzhou. Remember, there is no amnesty for all those who escape halfway. I will obey you. Mo Jiang knelt down on one knee, slightly lowered his head, straightened his back, and raised his voice a few degrees, especially with posture. So good, so good. Yan Beicheng, who had been staying leisurely for a long time, came forward with no comment. It is obvious that such a lazy attitude is full of the belief that a nobleman's son who only knows how to eat, drink and play every day is true. Mo Jiang had been used to Yan Beicheng's attitude for a long time. Seeing that he didn't have any opinions, he said, since the Lord has no orders, the general will leave first and go back to make good preparations. Yan Emoli nodded slightly, and then his eyes fell on Yan Beicheng again. Tomorrow you want to go out with you, go back to clean up. Mention this matter, Yan North City complexion immediately again bitter come down, Wan Yan of answer away, yes, this king knew. He was about to turn around and go out, but Mo Shanghua came out of the inner room at this time. He blessed Yan Mo slightly and said, I heard that the mob was very cruel and insidious. Even His Highness had been caught in their plan before. The Lord went alone. I'm really worried. I hope His Highness will allow me to accompany him. After a pause, she said, my medical skills must be known to all of us. At that time, we can also help in the army. Yan Moli didn't answer her immediately. Her tone was slightly raised, with some doubts and envy. I heard that the princess seemed to have some trouble with her brother recently. I didn't expect that the princess was still so concerned about her brother now. It's really enviable. Yan Beicheng smell speech, directly a will Mo Shanghua into his arms, full of smile mouth, husband and wife this is like this, bed quarrel bed end and, the fun is natural. Mo Shanghua eyebrow heart tiny can't check of light see you for a while, but still resisted in the heart want to brush open his hand of impulse, cooperate of tiny hook lip a smile. Yan Emoli Mao Guang sweeps from the two people's intimate posture, eyes color slightly deep, emperor younger brother and sister-in-law are so affectionate, how can this temple not become the beauty of people, sister-in-law if really want to go, then go. He had long guessed that Mo Shanghua would go, and he didn't intend to refuse. Now Mo Shanghua proposed, so he would not refuse. Yan Beicheng was like a child who had got candy. He was so happy that he made Hualan tighter. In this way, the king took the princess back first. Said, holding the flowers on the road will go out, flowers on the road is also with the nest in his arms, to accompany her out. Not long after they left, Yan Moli's bodyguard came in and saluted him, Your Highness, 5,000 elite soldiers have arrived 30 miles outside Yuzhou City. Do you want to move on? The movement is so slow. It seems that they are slacking off again these days when our hall is away. Yan Mo's face was expressionless. It seemed that his words of blame were just floating in his mouth. People couldn't guess for a moment whether he was happy or angry. The bodyguard was so nervous that he could not help but droop his head and dare not speak. Sure enough, Yan Mo's eyes flashed in the next second, and soon recovered as usual, saying, let them wait there. The Japanese hall of the Ming dynasty will lead the soldiers to make peace with them. In addition, the left vanguard who led the 5,000 people will be punished for 3 months. Yes, I'll tell you now. The bodyguard sighed for the striker in his heart and answered in a loud voice, half a point without taboo. Both the master and the servant seem to forget that this is King Yu's mansion, a place with ears and walls. However, it's not that they are not afraid, it's just that these things have been exposed and there is no need to cover them up. When Yan Beiqing sent Mo Shanghua back to the dockyard with such a close attitude, the whole house suddenly changed its attitude towards Nanha, and the people immediately began to speculate, for fear that they might miscalculate their fate and end up in a bad future. At that time, when they arrived in the dockyard, they dismissed the people, leaving only 2 of them for convenience. The house was silent for a long time, but Mo Shanghua just opened her mouth and broke the silence. I'm afraid that this incident came too quickly. It's not the emperor's whim, but the plan for many days. Now the purpose is clear. Nature can't be a whim. Because a few days ago Yan Beiqing had already exposed some of her original temperament in front of Mo Shanghua, and knew that she had already known his identity. At this time, the appearance of a dissolute child disguised as usual was faded. I'm afraid you don't know that although he ostensibly came to pacify the mob this time, in fact, only his soldiers and horses were in Anzhou before. As for himself, he went to the wrong place. This poison is the price he paid when he went to the wrong place. The color of his eyes is quiet, and his thin lip has no radiance. It's like a cold machine. It's very different from ordinary times. It's the dandy King Yu's dress, but his face looks like a cloaker. It's the first time that I've seen the flowers on the street in Yanbei City. I can't help but feel strange and complicated. How many faces does he have? However, in the end, what is important in front of her is just for a moment. The next second, Mo Shanghua returns to normal, and her eyes are also serious. Where did she go, and what's her purpose? After a pause, Mo Shanghua seemed to realize that it was inappropriate for him to be so directly afraid, and then said, he dared to leave the army to calm down the people in Anzhou quietly, risking such a crime of bullying the king, and quietly went to other places. The purpose must be not simple. Only if you understand it with me, can you guess its real purpose. Yan Moli is very deep in the city. To fight with him is to be with wolves. She has to think deeply. I thought that most of Yan Beiqing would not talk about it in detail, but I never thought that Yan Beiqing was just calm. When she finished speaking, she opened her mouth, and 2 simple words jumped out of his mouth. Jiang Jun. Jiang Jun. The flower eyebrow tip lightly picks, the facial expression does not understand. Seeing this, Yan Beiqing continued to explain in a low voice, Jiang Jun is a branch camp of our secret guard camp, which is rich in iron industry. All the weapons used in the secret guard camp are produced from there, which is a decisive place. After a pause, his good-looking phoenix eyes narrowed slightly, and there was a kind of cool color in his eyes. It's so dark, but on the surface, it's just an ordinary place, but it's more iron ore than other places. Unexpectedly, he was staring at him and plotting with the local sheriff to rob the iron ore and many iron shops. This kind of behavior is intolerable. Secondly, if Yan Moli noticed any clues when he was really fighting for the design, he would follow suit and expose the secret guard camp, then it would be even more serious. However, such an important thing, is not it extremely confidential, Yan Beiqing actually told her? Mo Shanghua was stunned and looked at Yan Beiqing, who was in front of him. He couldn't believe it. Wait, this matter is so important. How can you talk to me so easily? You're not a good person. You're not afraid that I'll calculate you when I know it? In the past, I would have thought about that. Yan Beiqing looked at the eyes of Mo Shanghua, which were as clear as lacquer and ink. At the moment, Mo Shanghua seemed to be just a thin layer of performance. It was very easy to see the sincere inside through this performance. Now, I know, it's what you know. You will never do that. All of a sudden, the flower eyes on the street seemed to explode a faint light, and the heart also followed the inexplicable light tremor, which was really shocked by his words. Then why do you believe me so much? Speaking, her eyes involuntarily fell on Yanbei City, her palms slightly tightened, but she didn't realize it. She was full of answers from Yanbei City. Yan Beiqing also looked at her, serious, eyes faintly congealed some lingering feelings. With you as my wife, I am your husband. In this world, there should be no one more intimate than you and me. Therefore, I will naturally believe in you, love you, and protect you all my life. At this moment, Mo Shenghua only felt that her heart, which had been pressed down by the boulder these days, suddenly relaxed. The boulder broke, and her heart rose to the sky with great joy. The whole body was clear and relaxed. As for those beside, the ruddy lips of the flowers on the street pressed down the feeling of being ready to move in my heart. In the end, I didn't ask about Nanha, but said, "May my heart be like yours." She only thought that if Yan Beiqing thought about the matter of Nanha, he would take the initiative to say it. Now if he doesn't say it, she won't ask. As long as he has the heart, he will tell her all about it in the future. However, she forgot that if this matter had been so pressed in her heart for a long time, this pimple would not be eliminated. Instead, it would take root and sprout until it grew sharp branches, which would make her tired both physically and mentally. Yen North City Heart is also the same flowers in full bloom, love to the depths, the hands of uncontrollable want to raise their hands to embrace the flowers into the bosom. Mo Shenghua is still a little uncomfortable, subconsciously back 2 steps, to avoid his contact. Yen North City sword eyebrow tiny ring, again is unclear so, again is embarrassed of hope to her. Mo Shenghua was not comfortable with Yan Beiqing's eyes. He habitually turned his head to avoid his eyes and said, "The emperor's will must have something to do with Yan Moli. He ordered you to be the deputy commander to mobilize Yuzhou's troops. What did he want to do?" Yan Beiqing glanced at the bottom of his eyes with a smile, but when he saw that Mo Shenghua was so serious, he corrected his face and analyzed it carefully. Yuzhou scattered 30,000 soldiers, guarding the border of the moon and the country, Yangguan 10,000, and Huijun 5,000 behind Yangguan. These 2 places are very important and far apart. The remaining 15,000 are scattered in Yuzhou, and there are more than 10 counties and states. It's only 15,000. He will have 8,000 elite troops tomorrow. He can only transfer them recently. In this way, Yuzhou City and its surrounding areas will be empty, but the border will not be affected. As he spoke, the color of thinking in his eyes became more and more intense. Big brother died early. Now he is the eldest son, a few years older than me, but he has not been granted the title of king. If he can successfully pacify the rebellion in Anzhou. After Yan Beiqing's advice, the disordered thoughts of Huanao in the street, like a tangled thread, suddenly straightened out and successfully pierced on their respective needles. The previous defeat should be intentional, just to show the ferocity of the mob. In this way, he cannot win the respect of the prince after the defeat. As for robbing your mining weapons, I'm afraid it's also to prepare for everything after going to the fiefdom. It's more obvious that he doesn't want to be a favored prince in Beijing. Yan Moli is introverted and steady on the surface, but he has such great ambition inside Yanbei City. Good-looking phoenix eyes, such as suddenly falling ice in general, the temperature suddenly decreased, then he must really have such strength. Since ancient times, there has always been no real flesh and blood in the struggle for the throne. Since Yan Moli dares to fight for it, he must be ready to defeat the enemy. Mo Shenghua originally thought that Yan Beiqing's ambition should not be hidden at this time, but she never thought that now facing a person who had such a big threat to him, there was only endless cold in his eyes, and no sign of half-ambition could be found. Yan Beiqing wants the throne. She can see it. However, it is impossible for a normal person to hide himself at such a time. How could he lose half of his ambition? Mo Shenghua suddenly felt strange, but seeing him look like this, he still held back his curiosity and didn't ask. He said, "He has thrown an olive branch to me 3 times and 4 times, and I have falsely promised. I think this will be his most unsuccessful move." The 4 eyes are opposite, and both of them are inside. At the moment, the color of the ink is deeper. It is clear that they have not said much, but they have already been tacit. Although Yan Beiqing has a reputation for waste firewood, Mo Zhang's ability to handle affairs is excellent. In less than a day, he has transferred out 8,000 elite troops, and the transfer is extremely reasonable, which does not make the troops everywhere uncoordinated. What's more, he was different from other villains. After he planned to mobilize the troops that day, he immediately came to Yan Beiqing to ask for instructions. If someone else, he would have asked for instructions from the so-called commander-in-chief. Yanbei City knew this person's carefulness, but it didn't matter, but the flower on the street couldn't help looking up. When he, casually, saw Mo Zhang's plan for dispatching troops, Yan Beiqing waved his hand directly. I think it's very good. You can ask Brother Huang again. In this way, is not Yuzhou all exposed to others? Mo Jiang knew about Yanbei City's straw bag, but he never thought it was such a straw bag. He couldn't help saying, Lord, this is not right. This matter has exposed the distribution of Yuzhou's troops and horses. This Brother Huang is not an outsider. Besides, he is the commander-in-chief. He will depend on Brother Huang in the future. Mo Jiang, a word is not finished, Mo Shanghua directly interrupted his words, a pair of random Langdang appearance. In this way, it is obvious to attach everything to Yan Moli. Can be such an important thing, on the side of the flowers, but also did not see the slightest intention to stop. Ma Jiang, helpless, had to bow his head. Yes, the end will obey. Wait a minute. Mo Shanghua, who had been silent all the time, suddenly raised her eyes and said, 8,000 elite soldiers have been transferred, which is not a small number. Please ask General Mo to go on and strengthen the patrol in order to prevent the invasion of the mob during this period. After a pause, she turned her eyes and looked at the boys around Yanbei City. Zhao Yin of each city also ordered them to go down and let them strengthen the patrol and martial law of each city and county to ensure the peace in the city. Mo Jiang and Xiao Si did not answer immediately. They turned their eyes to Yan Beiqing. The words of the princess are equivalent to the words of the king. Yan Beiqing did not care about the general, particularly casual mouth, language is difficult to cover the doting. Yes. After the boy answered, he went down in a hurry. Mo Jiang saw Mo Shanghua for the first time. Seeing her so clever again, he couldn't help looking at her more. His eyes were a bit thoughtful. Then he said, yes, and went on. The next morning, the flowers on the street were ready to go. Yan Beiqing and Yan Moli were already ready. They took a small group of people to the meeting place outside the city. As for Mo Jiang, after looking for Yan Moli yesterday, he mobilized troops all night and waited outside the city. After the meeting, they went on to make peace with the 5,000 soldiers in Yan Moli's mouth. In this way, more than 10,000 troops went to Anzhou. The distance between Anzhou and Yuzhou was not far. After 2 days of marching, the soldiers and horses arrived 30 miles near Anzhou and camped here. At that time, the night was deep. However, Yan Moli pulled Yan Beiqing away and discussed with him and many generals about the time of tomorrow's expedition. Mo Shanghua was not good at participating in it, so he sent Qin Lin out to inquire about the current situation of the rioters. After Qin Lin came back, the whole person seemed to be bad. His face was very dignified. He stuttered and said, the king, the princess, the slave inquired, and now the situation seems very bad. Mo Shanghua eyebrow tip tiny pick, sat straight body, how? Qin Lin wiped the sweat on his forehead, and his face was not very good. According to the news from the spies in the camp, there were only a few hundred people in An and Anzhou. Later, under their agitation, they gathered more than 4,000 people from nearby. Later, they heard that the imperial court sent people to suppress them. Unexpectedly, they directly captured the people and filled their army. Now there are more than 7,000 people scattered. More than 7,000 people. There are so many. The thin eyebrows of the flowers on the street suddenly tightened tightly into a ball, with a dignified complexion. When she first came to the world, she read a lot of historical books. According to the records in the books, since the founding of the People's Republic of China, the largest scale of people's riot was only more than 2,000 people, and it was caused by the remaining evils of the previous dynasty. Wujuan is just a small county. The disaster of food shortage is not so serious. It is far from the national drought decades ago. In those years, there were not so many mobs. Compared with this disaster, it is strange that such a large-scale rebellion was triggered by such a small disaster. But, for a moment, she couldn't say what was wrong. Thinking about this, the flower on the street frowned more tightly, and there was a strong doubt in her eyes. Is there any other useful news? Qin Lin shook his head and looked ashamed. I'm stupid. At present, I can only inquire about these news. Well, I see. You go out. Now, however, I just arrived near Anzhou, and it's not Qin Lin's fault that I can't find out. Therefore, Mo Shanghua didn't investigate. I'm in a hurry. After 2 days, you must be tired. Go to have a rest first. Yes. Qin Lin nodded and was about to go down, but the flower suddenly remembered something. He called him back again with strict eyes. By the way, this place is not like the mansion. If it's not for orders, you must not walk at will. If there is no special situation, you should always follow me in the daytime. Qin Lin even touched the back of his head and said with a smile, I know that the princess cares about me. I'm sure I will listen to you. You can rest assured. As soon as he resumed speaking, he said that he was always so stumbling, but his simple and honest face was as comfortable as ever. That's good. Mo Shanghua nodded her chin, then she turned and sat down. Seeing this, Qin Lin retreated quietly at the right time. The army is no better than the palace, which can provide a courtyard for Mo Shanghua and Yan Beiqing. Now the conditions in the army are limited, so they can only live in the same military tent. Now she knows too little about Anzhou, so it's impossible for her to sleep like this and just wait for Yan Beiqing to come back. When Yan Beiqing came back, it was already dark. Mo Shanghua was holding a book and reading it in front of the candlestick. He didn't come back until he came near. He looked up at him and said, You're back. Under the dim yellow and gentle light of the main lamp, the white cheeks of the flowers on the street are covered with a soft light, and the always cold cheeks add a sense of tenderness. The chill at the bottom of Yanbei City's eyes suddenly dissipated and turned into a pool of warm water, but in the mouth, it was the waste firewood in front of people. I don't want to either. His whole person directly collapsed on the side of the flower on the street, a tired state. After listening to so long, one did not understand, this king's but is almost moldy, really tired. It's no better here than in the palace. Although there are so many ears and eyes, if you want to say something secret, you can still create such an opportunity. There are so many Yan Moli people in today's military camp. Naturally, you have to be careful everywhere and never forget to be on guard. Mo Shanghua naturally knew this. Her eyes like a fan moved gently, and she said thoughtfully, I think Wang Yi must be hungry for his dinner today. It's clear that the king has not used up yet, so he was called away by the second brother. Mention this matter, Yan Beiqing immediately full of the color of resentment. Lord, calm down. Mo Shanghua closed the book and put it aside. She took the thick porcelain teapot and poured a glass of water to Yan Beiqing. Yan Beiqing took the drink and touched his stomach. He could not help but wail and got up again from the mat as soon as the words fell. 2 soldiers outside the door came in and bowed their hands and clasped their fists. See you, Wang Yi. Yan Beiqing waved his hand casually and said, I haven't had much dinner. Please pass it on quickly and prepare some more for me. The 2 soldiers looked at each other for a while, and then one of them, looking rather embarrassed, said, Lord, now the kitchen is resting. If you cook now, I'm afraid there's so much nonsense. Yan Beiqing's white and clean cheek suddenly turned black, and his face showed displeasure. It's a great thing that I'm hungry. Don't you take me seriously and want to starve me to death?